welcome to the Rockies, the start of a gorgeous weekend here in Colorado. We zoom in on downtown Denver and welcome to Coors Field. Resplendent here tonight, the final weekend of the '98 season for the Rockies, but maybe not for the Giants of San Francisco, who are fighting hard for a wild card. Hi again, everyone. I'm Dave Armstrong along with George Frazier. George, the Rockies playing the role of the spoiler right now. The Giants have won 4 in a row, 7 of 8. Their hopes are still alive.
Well, they really are. This ball club has played well of late. They're sending a guy to the mound tonight, Sean Estes. Could be a little tougher. Look back to 1995, October the 1st. Rockies clinch it. September the 20th, 96, Giants eliminate Rockies. Last year, Giants eliminate Rockies again, and right now, with the Cubs in Atlanta going at it, 2-2 in Houston, I believe, 4-2 in Atlanta, with Atlanta winning that ball game. So some smiles, but a lot of tension down in the dugout with the San Francisco Giants. I mean, this is tough, folks. They could actually be playing in New York on Monday, I guess. Tuesday, they would be flying to the coast to play the Cubs. Got some baseball left for you.
Well, it's going to be an interesting weekend here at Coors Field. The Rockies and the Giants, and certainly these young kids are excited. It's almost playoff fever here for Todd Helton and Nafi Perez as they continue to sign autographs. The Rockies and the Giants are coming up. That's when the Giants won 103 games, and yet the Rockies went to Atlanta and were swept by the Braves, and the Giants were out of the playoffs. There was no wild card that year. But Baker's Giants have a chance, a fighting chance here this weekend. We'll see if they can do it. The Rockies are going to try to prevent it. The lineup brought to you by the Rocky Mountain News. Marvin Bernard leading off. He's followed by the shortstop, Rich Aurelia. Then Barry Bonds. What a month of September he's put together. Followed by Jeff Kent. We'll tell you more about him in a moment. He has had a sterling 2 years in San Francisco. Then Joe Carter, his career resurgent in his final year in the big leagues. Look what he's done in September. Then J.T. Snow, Bill Miller, Brian Johnson, and Sean Estes. Well, the Rockies defensively, the Rockies with 10 double plays in the last 5 games. Clemente replacing Walker in right field. Walker still not able to go with the sore back. And the AutoZone pitcher for the Rockies is the right-hander John Thompson.
Thompson will give it another try to win his 9th ball game. 479 earned run average for Thompson. He's pitched against San Francisco twice this year. On June the 15th, they went 8 2/3 innings, 3 hits, just 1 run. Pitched beautifully in that ball game, but did not come up with a decision. And then pitched September the 13th against San Francisco, went 7 1/3, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned ones. Thompson would like to finish it on a positive note.
George, Joe Carter is sort of serving the role that Don Baylor did with your Minnesota Twins in 1987. Carter coming over from Baltimore, and boy, his veteran presence has been a big help to San Francisco.
Well, that and the rings he has on his fingers. He's been there before. He's been in this type of battle, this type of situation, can handle the pressure. That's why Joe Carter's getting time in right field. Plus, he's swinging the bat pretty well right now.
A gorgeous Friday night to begin things. The Rockies and the Giants. The Rockies are going to try to knock the Giants out of any wild card hope. And I'm sure that San Francisco is going to be keeping an eye on that scoreboard, and we'll do it for you as well. Marvin Bernard looks at the first pitch low. In case you didn't know, right now the Cubs and the Mets are tied for the wild card lead in the National League with 3 games to go, and San Francisco just a game back. Fouled on a play by Bernard, and it's a ball and a strike. San Francisco was 5 back just a few days ago on the 17th of this month. They were 5 games on the wild card, and everybody said they've got no hope. But they've won 7 of 8 and coming off a sweep of the Pirates in a 4-game series.
I think that's the reason Yogi started saying it ain't over till it's over. All of a sudden, you see the Cubs and the Mets go on losing streaks or play 500 ball, and you pick up the ball games, winning 7 out of 8.
Cubs right now tied with Houston 2-2 in the 4th inning. And that's not the whole story. In Houston, Sammy Sosa with a 2-run homer to tie that ball game, and that is home run number 66 for Sosa. He has now taken the lead in baseball with 66 home runs over Mark McGwire, who has 65. McGwire so far in the 4th, that game scoreless. He doesn't have a hit. Here comes Bichette playing Bernard to poke it the other way, and Dante makes the grab. Well, we'll look at that wild card race in the National League, and boy, is it tight. It's already been decided in the American League, but the Mets are playing Atlanta tonight, and they'll play them all weekend in Atlanta. The Cubs are in Houston. So I guess the Giants have the best of all scenarios, with the Cubs having to play in Houston, although they don't have to face Randy Johnson, and the Mets at Atlanta, where it's going to be tough for them.
Well, the Mets at Atlanta, they get to bypass Maddox and probably Smoltz, but then they'll get Glavine one of the ball games, you get Nagel one of the games, and probably Millwood the other game on Sunday, because they're preparing for Tuesday's start of the playoffs. But everything will be pushed back if there ends up being a three-way tie in the wild card.
Atlanta, with just one more win, they would clinch the best record in the National League. They have 103 right now. Upstairs to Rich Aurelia. 1 ball, 1 strike to Aurelia, who's really struggled over his last 22 games, hitting just .213.
You'll see early in the ball game, Dave, I think, of how Dusty Baker will lead this ball club, whether they're tense, whether they're swinging at a lot of pitches, or if they're patient at the plate and work John Thompson deep into counts to get a pitch in their favor. It'll be interesting to see how it starts out.
Thompson making his last start of the year, throwing to Manwaring behind the plate. He wants a fastball. He gets it, but it's too far inside. It's 3-1. Frank Pulley, the veteran umpire, behind the plate. Greg Benet is at first. Bruce Treckman at second. And Ed Rapuano is the umpire down at third. Rockies facing Sean Estes, who in his last start was Sterling, although Sean hasn't won a game since July. He's spent 2 months on the DL. Strike right through there, and it's 3-2 now to Aurelia. He's going to have to swing the bat.
One thing for Thompson, I think he just wants to get through the first inning without any damage. Build his confidence against the ball club that's playing very well.
Fastball right down Main Street and drilled right back through the box. A single for Aurelia, and that gets Bonds to the plate with a man aboard.
3-2 pitch. You don't want to walk anybody, so you go right at him. He's not going to hit the ball out of the ballpark that often. You see Manwaring set up on the outside half of the plate. The pitch, outside half. Just a nice job of hitting by Aurelia to take the pitch right back up the middle.
Well, the last time we saw Bonds, he was hitting a game-winning home run off Chuck McElroy. Bonds with 37 home runs, and the footnote on that you see at the bottom, 7 straight years with 30-plus home runs. He has 411 career home runs. A certain Hall of Fame career, Barry Bonds. He has been arguably the best player in baseball over the last decade. Bonds has turned it up a notch too over the last couple of months, hitting .373 in the last 39, and a base hit into center field. Aurelia is going to take third on the single by Bonds. So back-to-back singles by the Giants. They're in business with only 1 out. And that'll get Jeff Kent to the plate. As you look at Aurelia at third, Bonds at first. Kent has put together another very solid year despite some injuries. 30 home runs, that's a career high, and 122 ribbies, that's also a career high. Last year he had 29 homers and 121 runs batted in. In fact, he's only the second baseman in all time in Major League history to have back-to-back 120-plus RBI seasons. The other guy, a fellow by the name of Rogers Hornsby, one of the all-time great second baseman in baseball. He did it back in the 20s. A little bit low. Thompson trying to get Kent to hit into an inning-ending double play.
And he has that ability with a good sinking fastball, the slider that breaks away, and the fast-developing changeup that he has developed just in recent weeks to complement the slider and the fastball.
Fouled back by Kent. Well, a good-looking scoreboard as far as the Giants are concerned right now. Atlanta leading the Mets 4-3 in the 5th. The Mets are trying to come back, but the Cubs are behind again. Houston has scored in the bottom of the 4th, and the Astros have taken a 3-2 lead. Those 2 games, the highlight in the National League. Everything else has been decided. So those 2 games and the one here, all the spotlight in the National League on these 3 cities. There goes Bonds, a throw down, and it's a high one. A stolen base for Bonds. That'll take away the probability of a double play. Aurelia stays at third.
Very tough on the opposition, and tough on the Rockies and Kurt Manwaring, because look at the jump that Barry Bonds has gotten at first base. The high leg kick of Thompson allowed him to do it, and then the throw was high, and Bonds is safe at second base. It's an inside pitch to Kent, and that's hard for Manwaring too, because he's looking for a pitch on the outside half of the plate, and it comes back inside. So you got to rearrange your footwork to get the ball down to second base.
Bonds with 28 stolen bases now, George, closing in on another 30-30 year.
Well, whatever he does, it doesn't surprise me.
2 balls and a strike to Kent with 2 on in scoring position. The only game of real significance in the American League, or 2 games I should say, Texas at Seattle and Anaheim at Oakland. If Texas wins 1 more this weekend, they've wrapped up the West. In the dirt. That's ball 3. Even if the Angels lose 1 game this weekend at Oakland, the only chance for the Angels, they have to sweep the A's, and Texas would have to lose all 3 at Seattle. So any combination of a Texas win or an Anaheim loss, and the Rangers are in the playoffs, joining New York, Cleveland, and Boston. Here comes the 3-1 pitch, and it's hit out of play.
Well, you remember the last start that Thompson had against San Francisco. He breezed for 7 innings, and then all of a sudden the wheels came off. He walked 2 hitters in a row with 1 out into the 8th inning, and the Rockies ended up losing that ball game on a home run by Barry Bonds off of Chuck McElroy.
Too low. That'll load him up. 2 singles and a walk, and they're loaded for the aforementioned Joe Carter. Frank Funk's going to come out and have a quick word with John Thompson. Well, Joe Carter, boy, an RBI producer if ever there was one, and Joe Carter, through the years, he's been a very solid professional in baseball.
It's been outstanding. Take a look at this graphic, and it'll tell you a little bit about Joe Carter. 1983. How about 1984? Traded for a guy named George Frazier, Rick Sutcliffe, and Ron Hasse. Kind of amazing. Padres
what a steal.
in 90.
What a steal for the Indians.
In 91 to 97, the Blue Jays World Series champs 92, 93, MVP 93, and then here with the Orioles and the Giants this year.
Who can forget, George, Joe Carter dancing around the bases in Toronto with that home run to win Game 7. Only the 2nd time in baseball history a guy has hit a home run in Game 7 to win it.
I know, and that against the Wild thing, Williams in Philadelphia. Ruined his career after the home run.
Ball 1 to Joe Carter.
See what, and this is just my own personal opinion. I think that what Dusty's done tonight, you look at their lineup, it's a very veteran lineup. Not a lot of young players in their lineup. Guys that know how to hit in situations. Like right now, Joe Carter with 1 out. He realizes he doesn't have to hit the ball hard, just get it into the outfield in the air to get the run home.
Bouncing ball foul, 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, Carter, like Dante Bichette, he has been an RBI producer his entire career.
Well, you look at him with the career with the bases loaded, 288. Tells you how many times it's happened. 49 for 170 with 10 grand slams.
Carter says this is it for him. This is his last year. He's going to retire after the season.
Well, he's had a great career.
Bouncing up there, and it's 2-1 to Joe Carter. Somebody just asked from the truck who was the other to hit a game-winning home run in Game 7. Well, that was Bill Mazeroski in 1960 at a game-winning home run for the Pirates. So only he and Carter, the only 2 guys to clinch it with a home run in Game 7. Two-1 fastball is fouled back. Pretty good fastball for Thompson. He's missed some with his location, but he's running it up there into the mid-90s.
As long as he stays down in the strike zone, you're not going to get hurt. If you get it up, that's when you get hurt. 25 pitches so far in the first inning, just 1 out, 14 strikes, 11 balls. He had to walk to Jeff Kent, who fouled off a number of pitches to drive up the pitch count.
The 2-2 pitch to Carter. He got him to hit it on the ground. Perez has got it to second for one. The relay, no chance. But boy, just to get one on that is amazing. Aurelia scores. The Giants have the lead.
Trying to work it down and away to Joe Carter is exactly what happens. It's a sinker on the outside half of the plate. Nafee gets a good break on the ball, playing midway, not all the way back, so his range comes into account there. The good throw to Mike Lansing, and even Laser, after stepping off the back of the bag, makes an attempt to get Carter at first base. A good scoop by Helton. The runners at first and third. 2 outs.
So now J.T. Snow. If Thompson can get wiggle off this hook with only 1 run allowed, he would have done his job. J.T. Snow, he's come alive in the last 12 games. Look what he's done. Now you look at the Giants, though, overall, and one of the reasons they've won 7 of 8 is they are hot as a team. You look down at their lineup. Bernard's hot. So is Bonds, Kent, Carter, Snow. They're all hot, and all hot at the right time, including their pitching staff. Don Baylor knows his team will have their work cut out for them this weekend, but it's kind of fun to play a game that really means something, and it does.
It means an awful lot. Just ask those guys in those Giants dugout and then call Chicago and New York. They'll tell you.
Well, the Cubs behind Houston 3-2. Atlanta ahead of New York 4-3. Both games in the 5th. So you know, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Snow.
This is the fun part of baseball, to get this far into the season. And then now here you are with 3 games left, and there's so many variables for the Giants to get into that playoff game on Monday, or to just win it outright.
Yep. Well, if they win all 3 and the Mets and the Cubs lose all 3, they're in there. 1-2 pitch to Snow. A broken bat. Looper out to Lansing. He's got it, and that'll do it. Overall, not bad for John Thompson. The Giants had him loaded with only 1 out and get just 1 run on the 2 hits. The Rockies are coming up. For 20 runs in the first 2 games of this last homestand. Here's his lineup, brought to you by the Rocky Mountain News. Leading off will be former Giant Darrell Hamilton, followed by Nafee Perez. Then Dante Bichetti's had a good year against the Giants, followed by Vinny Castilla. Helton has also damaged the Giants' hopes this year. And Lansing, Clemente, Manwaring, and Thompson. Defensively for the Giants, brought to you by Coca-Cola. Now the Giants right now 2nd defensively in the National League. The AutoZone starting pitcher for San Francisco, coming off a couple of months on the DL. He's still looking for win number 8. Here's Sean Estes.
Well, Estes had shoulder problems. The front side of the shoulder was giving him an awful lot of problems. You see his numbers there, but more importantly, in his last 9 starts, 2-7 with a .576 earned run average. On the road, he's 1-9 with a .742 earned run average. But Sean Estes, in his last start against the Dodgers, he went 8 innings, only gave up 2 hits, walked 1, struck out 10, and lost the ball game 1-0. So he has pitched well of late. He's pitched against the Rockies twice this year. In the first outing in Colorado, or excuse me, at home, he went 9 innings, struck out 11, and pitched against Colorado again and only went 4 innings, only gave up 11 hits and 7 runs.
6 of those in that 4th inning, and then he went on the DL for 2 months with problems in his shoulder. He gets ahead of his former teammate Darrell Hamilton, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Well, they were happy to see his fastball back at 94 miles an hour against the Dodgers with the good breaking ball.
Slapped the other way, out of play by Hamilton, and it's still 1-2. You saw Hamilton's .341 average with the Rockies, his on-base percentage at .413.
The Giants' feelings too with Darrell Hamilton. Obviously, Dusty Baker, who knows a lot about hitting, also knows a lot about Darrell Hamilton coming over from San Francisco. Dusty's probably got a pretty good game plan put together on how they would like to pitch Darrell Hamilton, and so far it's been all fastballs. And there's another.
That one up there at about 91.
See what he rotates into now. Asks for the fastball away.
Slap the other way, but foul. Again, Darrell Hamilton able to extend this at bat, and that's what you like in your leadoff batter, able to see 5, 6, 7 pitches in that first at bat. If you do that, what you're seeing is, for the most part, the opposing pitcher's repertoire. It gives the other hitters a chance to see what he's got that night. Slapped on the ground to Aurelia. One up, one down.
You look back at Sean Estes and the way that he pitches with his delivery, and to get to a point I'll show you, try to show you where the concern came, because he would fly open with his front shoulder. Watch the glove side shoulder stay closed longer now. More contact at home and pull straight down. Now he's working at a good motion over the top. He got in a habit of pulling that glove to the right side of his body versus down. Worked on a flat plane. He led with the shoulder and then consequently came up with the bad shoulder. Made a few tweaks and he's fine.
Fly out, it's not good.
No, you're kind of like your golf swing. You don't want to fly out. Kind of like riding in an airplane. You don't want to fly out of it.
Well, that's a little more dangerous.
Yeah, that's got a parachute.
Well, that's true.
You don't wear one on all the Chargers?
No.
You don't?
Thinking about taking that up. No, they've been great. Breaking ball upstairs, 2 balls, no strikes. That is something I never want to do, jump out of an airplane.
No, me neither. With a parachute, I don't care. With whatever, I'm not jumping.
No bungee cords for me.
And I might do that.
You would?
Yeah.
I weigh too much.
No,
I'm
you
afraid
don't.
that thing will snap.
No, you don't.
Perez, base hit, left field. Well, Nafi Perez gets aboard, and it's not a bunt single. It's a regular old single to left.
I was kidding him prior to the ball game. I said, golly, you've turned into bunt automatic all the time. All of a sudden, from the right side, you got 8 home runs. Look at the high leg kick, the sweep of the bat, jerks it into left field. Kind of like that. I hadn't seen a high leg kick from Nafi lately. Line drive to left field, though, and I think if you're Dusty Baker and the pitching staff for San Francisco, you read the newspapers the last couple of days, you realize the Rockies swinging the bat very well.
Oh, yeah. Well, Dante Bichette hit his 22nd home run the other night. Looks at a fastball right through there, strike one. Dante has set a couple of team records this year, and you see what he's done against the Giants. His 48 doubles, a new team record, and his 217 hits. Bouncing ball, could be 2. It is. So a double play by the Giants erases the single by Perez, and that'll do it. After 1-0 San Francisco. As we head to inning number 2, bottom third of the order due up for San Francisco. Rockies baseball is brought to you by Bud Light, the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light. Well, John Thompson, sort of a rocky first inning, gave up only 1 run, but almost threw 30 pitches, so he'll try to settle down here in the second inning, facing Bill Miller, Brian Johnson, and Sean Estes. So far, best we can determine, John Olerud in that Mets game is 0 for 1. His average down to 350. Walker right at 360 and not able to go tonight because of the sore back. Walker really does feel bad about the fact that he's not been able to play. He does not want to be accused around baseball as backing into a batting title. He said, right now, I wish I didn't win it. I don't want to win it that way. I don't want everybody to think I backed into a title. He said that title doesn't mean anything to me. I'd rather us win ball games. Base hit by Bill Miller to lead things off for the Giants in the second. That'll get the catcher to the plate, Brian Johnson, a double play candidate, but also a guy who eliminated the Rockies' hopes last year with a home run, and the Giants went on to win the division. And Johnson has been hot. Talked about how the team has been hot. Well, Johnson in the last 8 games has hit .409, and he's hit 3 home runs in the last 8 games. Down low, ball one. Rockies Charity Fund is hosting the Hal O'Leary Awards Dinner Thursday, November 12th. It'll be at the Denver Marriott Tech Center. I am honored to be asked to be the master of ceremonies for the evening's festivities. Hal O'Leary is the guy who started the National Sports Center for the Disabled in Winter Park. Well, we talked about how hot the Giants are. How about the last 10 days for them and how they've made up so much ground for Dusty Baker?
Well, you look at the National League rank, then you look at the record. First in average, first in runs per game, first in home runs, and second in ERA. That's why you're 7-3.
It'll get you a few wins, won't it? Coming off their first 4-game sweep of the season against the Pirates. The 2-0 pitch is right through there, and it's 2-1.
I want to take a quick moment right now. Wright Hugus, who works down in the tape room, a tape operator on our truck, we'd like to say congratulations to his lovely wife, and gave birth to Morgan Stark Hugus this morning. I hope you enjoy that baby girl.
Yeah, congratulations. That's terrific. Perez has got it to Lansing, to first. Wow! What a play! Put a star on that one.
I think Napi Perez likes playing in a high-tension, competitive game. As this ball's hit into the hole deep on his knees, he gets back up, a quick flip over to Laser, and it's a perfect one. Lansing with the throw on to first base and a double play by quite the margin to get Johnson, and he'll face the pitcher Estes, who's got an average of 200 now with 2 outs.
Big double play there, and a great play by Napi Perez. Well, you think back to Napi getting Joe Carter in the Giant first inning, and a ball that might have gone into left field for a base hit, but Napi speared that one and forced Jeff Kent at second. And now he's able to start this double play. That one hits Estes. Was he out of the batter's box? They say no, that he was still in the batter's box, and that's a strike, and it's strike 2.
That's kind of a no man's land if you're the home plate umpire, because you're the one making the call. You see the ball back in fair territory, come back and hit him, but it was before he had left the box. Frank Foley makes the call, strike 2.
Squibbed right down the line. That was a cue shot right off the end of the bat.
That's the kind of ball I hope they throw back to me. Big old mark in the side of it.
You want that one back?
Oh, buddy. Pay money for that one.
You don't have to use any Vaseline there. Too high.
Thompson would like this to be an easy inning. 30 pitches in his first inning. It's an awful lot. Giants did a good job of extending the count. Get ahead of the pitcher now. Go ahead and blow him away and get it over with.
Flying away with that fastball right now.
Yeah, Thompson has a little bit of the same problem that Estes has. If he stays straight up and down and he really drives right to home plate and keeps the front shoulder closed, good location, good velocity.
Now it's 3-2 to Estes. Well, it was a walk in the park against Estes for a moment, but no longer.
You can do that again tonight. You had about 30 the other night. You were just ripping them right off like you're on stage.
I might just stop right there tonight.
Okay.
Again, the 3-2 pitch, and he got it finally. Estes strikes out, but the highlight of the inning for the Rockies was Napi Perez making a brilliant double play as he robs Brian Johnson of a hit. We go to the bottom of the second, still 1-0 San Francisco. Nothing as the Rockies will send up Castilla, Helton, and Lansing in the second. This day in Rockies history brought to you by Jeep, and on this day, Rockies beat the Padres 5-3 in San Diego. In 1996, Ellis Burks, who's now with the Giants, Quentin McCracken, who's now with Tampa Bay, each hit home runs. Thompson got the win. Burks not able to go tonight, and they're not sure about his availability for the weekend. Oh, Ellis Burks coming back to Coors Field, but back in the visitors clubhouse. Ellis will be a free agent at the end of the year. Where will he wind up, you wonder? Wants to play either left or right next season. Well, Vinny Castilla to lead things off. He'll be followed by Helton and Lansing. Castilla will try to add to his 45 homers over the weekend. Third most in Rocky history. He's hit 7 this month. The most in Rocky history set last year by Larry Walker with 49 in his MVP year. The year before, Cat set the mark at 47. And Vinny, a chance to, if he really gets hot, to maybe set a new National League record for home runs by a third baseman. On the ground to Aurelia. He's got it. That home run mark right now is Mike Schmidt's, who did it in 1980 with 48 home runs. So 1 out in the Rockies' second, and that'll bring up the Rockies Rookie of the Year candidate Todd Helton. You sense, George, there's sort of a groundswell of support for Helton these days. I mean, we're hearing it more and more from opposing teams as they come in that they think Helton should win the award.
Well, that's exactly. Arizona's guys all said they'd push their guy Lee at first base for all that time, and then Helton, they watched him play and hit for 2 home runs, and after the ball game, that was home run 23 and 24 for Helton, and they were all like, this kid ought to win it. You know, and Kerry Wood, with taking the month off, they're going to try to get him out one more time and have him pitch in this series if he has to. Tapani's going tonight. Chicago losing 4-2 now. Tapani's still in the ball game.
Fastball right through there, and it's 2-1. Helton, well, he just leads every rookie in baseball in both the American and National Leagues in almost every offensive category. Three balls and a strike.
His average at 317 now. It was as high as 327, if I'm not mistaken, almost a week and a half ago before the wrist injury. So now all of a sudden Helton's taken off with all the numbers. Would like to see him get 100 RBIs. It'd be a heck of an accomplishment. And if you think back to the goal set basically by his manager Don Baylor, it was to hit 15 home runs with 70 RBIs. Well, he's far surpassed that.
A good chance to get 100 ribbies. Wouldn't that be something? Rockies baseball brought to you by Bank One, the home of Rockies banking. Bank 1-to-1, member FDIC.
Where's the teller machine? Where's the ATM? Come on, Dad, give me the card.
What's the code?
Dad, how's that work? You just push it in and money comes out. That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Well, Mike Piazza just made an out with the bases loaded and 2 outs in the top half of the 6th inning to end any threats that New York had in the 6th. Atlanta goes up 5-3. El Presidente now. Dennis Martinez in the ball game for Atlanta.
And Mike Lansing, he's on a tear on the homestand. Hit 3 home runs in 1 game the other night. Laser now with 12 homers this year. Rips that one foul. His last 4 home runs have come off Paul, Dahl, and Small. For what that's worth. Well, guess what, folks? In St. Louis, Mark McGwire has just left the yard. A 2-run homer for McGwire. Sosa hit one earlier tonight. They each now have 66. Wow, what a battle for the home run title. Swing and a miss by Lansing, and down he goes.
Well, I have to admit that I honestly felt like that would probably stop at 68, 69, and who knows now, they may end up in a tie at the end of the year.
And what's interesting about it all is Sammy Sosa may have the advantage of playing an extra game. If the Cubs are involved in any sort of a playoff with either the Mets or the Giants, Sosa would be able to play 163 games this year, although he hasn't played them all. But Sosa would have 1 more game with which to break the mark if they end up tied after Sunday. That very well could happen, and that would count as the regular season total. I'm sure they'll put some sort of an asterisk by it, but maybe not a physical asterisk, but I'm sure everybody will make a mental note of that. 1 ball, 1 strike to Edgar Clemente. He told me before the game that he's going to talk things over with the Clemente family in the offseason to see if they would like him to continue to use the name Clemente, or if he should go back to using his given name Velasquez. He is Edgar Velasquez Clemente. His mother is Roberto's sister, or is Roberto's sister. But his father's given name is Velasquez. He said, right now, I said, have you gotten any extra attention? He said, I didn't do it for the attention. I did it to honor the Clemente name. Well, earlier this year, Sammy Sosa led for just a moment in a ball game. In fact, in a game in which both Sosa and McGuire were participating. And then Mack hit one a little bit later. Hit hard to left over the head of Bonds up against the wall. Helton got a great jump at first. They're going to wave him home. This will tie the game. Clemente going to third. He's in there with a triple.
See if Sean Estes tries to come inside on the young man, and he does, and Clemente jerks it into left field. Bonds races back as the ball over his head hits up onto the wall, ricochets towards the center field side. Clemente moving on the play, will come into third base, slide, he's safe, beat the throw of Bonds. Helton scores ahead of Clemente.
Boy, well, look at those strides, though, by Clemente.
Now, you got to be impressed with the job these kids have done.
Manwaring bounces out to Ken, and that'll do it. But Clemente with the triple. He scores another youngster, Todd Helton. So the kids coming through for the Rockies here tonight. And after two, we're tied at 1. Well, Clemente comes through with an RBI triple in his first at bat, scoring Todd Helton, who had walked before him. So the Rockies have tied the game 1-1. And George, you were making a point about the kids and how they've come through, with Perez making the brilliant defensive plays tonight, and then Clemente and Helton.
Well, all the kids have carried the Rockies so far in this ball game, but think back of what all the kids have been able to accomplish with these September call-ups. Gibson has been very impressive. Echeverria has been outstanding in a pinch hitting role, hitting over 500. Stoops and Gonzalez have pitched well out of the bullpen. Wayne House gets a save the other day, so the kids have performed well for the Rockies.
Yeah, they have. The kids are performing well here at Coors Field, too. Trying to peek up over the wall.
It's all right, big sister to the rescue.
Marvin Bernard to lead things off in the third. Bernard looks to bunt, pulls it back, and takes the ball. Bernard, the line drive to Dante Bichette, his first time up. That's amazing that both Sosa and McGuire hit home runs tonight.
I wonder if they got cell phones in their back pocket. They're like, ha ha, gotcha.
I still hope they end up tied. I really do. They both are deserving of the honor. They've both been terrific gentlemen about it. They've both been great stories and terrific for baseball in '98. High fly ball, center field. Hamilton drifting back. He's got room. That's one out.
You know, he talked about '98, Dave, and some of the great things that happened in baseball. Dennis Martinez, the winningest pitcher, Latin pitcher with most wins. Vinny Castilla, the most hits by a Mexican player with 203 right now. McGuire, Sosa, Yankees wins of 111. The perfect game by David Wells with the Yankees. I think the interest in baseball is back.
No question about it. You can see it in the turnstiles. You can read it in the papers. And amazing, you see a national paper like the USA Today with everything that's going on in Washington, and yet the home run race, the wild card races, the pennant races, they're grabbing front page in the USA Today and other papers all across the country.
Well, I think it's great to see that they've forgotten about 1994, that the baseball, and I know when they started the wild card, a lot of people said, I don't like it. Well, tonight there's 3 cities pretty excited about it right now in the National League.
No question. Last year, of course, Florida wild card team, and they win the World Series. And think of Boston. I mean, they were buried early on by the Yankees, who had that terrific season, 111 wins and counting for the Yankees, best year ever. Boston had no chance to be in the playoffs because of the Yankees' dominance, and yet with a wild card, there they are.
It gives them with great pitching. And you got Martinez, the closer that you watched as a starting pitcher in Kansas City, and Flash Gordon. And don't forget, you got a guy in front of him, Dennis Eckersley, that tied Hoyt Wilhelm's record for most career appearances. Was it 1,010, I believe, that tied the record with Hoyt Wilhelm, and the next appearance will break it for games pitched at the major league level.
Amazing how many years he spent as a starter, too. The 1-2 pitch is slapped up the middle. That's the second consecutive hit for Aurelia. Well, he started the Giant rally in the first, and he's aboard again here in the third. How many singles up the middle now for the Giants? Well,
everybody's staying back trying to drive the ball. What you want to do when you're facing a guy like Thompson, where the ball moves in the strike zone and typically moves downward or in on your hands, you want to try to hit the ball back up the middle. If you try to pull the ball, that's when you get the ground ball outs to shortstop and third base. And that's not what you want to do. Now, Barry Bonds is up what you'd like for him to do. Try to pull the sinker, but he got a base hit back up the middle earlier.
Yeah, he did. That one bouncing right through the legs of Manwaring all the way to the backstop. Aurelia takes second on the wild pitch.
Watch Mano try to set up with a runner on first base. That ball way out in front, and the ball just scooted. Manwaring rose up right at the very last minute. When he did, the ball got between the legs and all the way back to the wall.
So Aurelia now in scoring position. Do you pitch Bonds any differently now with first base open, or do you go after him early in the game?
Well, he's a very good fastball hitter. You look how the defense is set up for the Rockies. They're thinking, well, we're going to pitch him away. Napey playing almost right back up the middle. Lansing over to pull. Castillo over to pull. Very rarely will he hit the ball to left field. Dave, if I'm him, it's a lot of breaking balls and stuff down in the dirt with one out to try to set it back up. But what you have to remember, too, when you put him on first base, as he did in his first at-bat, he'll steal second base. They may try to run a double steal on you, too, with Aurelia at third base or second base.
And Bonds with 28 stolen bases, trying to become a 30-30 player for the 6th time in his career. He gets the green light, and you expect that 3-0. He's done it in each of the last 3 years.
Well, that's what I meant about pitching around him with first base open. This is a 78-mile-an-hour changeup with 3 balls and no strikes. If you're going to hit a pitch, you're going to hit my pitch, and it's going to be out of the strike zone. But that's an indication to Bonds. Do you go back to the well that many times, or you just throw the heat here out of the strike zone?
Right to Perez. He looks at third, but will throw to first to get Bonds. The Rockies had him defensed perfectly. Normally, that's a base hit up the middle, but with Perez shading over toward the bag, they get Bonds, and Aurelia moves to third. So a 2-out, Aurelia at third base, and Jeff Kent the batter. We invite you to join the Rockies for the final game of the year Sunday. If you're one of the first 20,000 through the gate, you'll get a pewter glove keychain, compliments of U.S. West Advanced PCS. Kent walked his first time up. I think if you had Will Clark on the same team with Kent, on the right side you'd have Clark Kent.
Yep. I remember Will Clark in the '89 Giants.
Oh yeah. Into left, hooking, foul. Aurelia goes back to third. Kent comes back to the plate.
Let's see how far this was foul. Looked like it was fouled by 3 or 4 feet. Oh, only by a couple of feet. And the fan reaches over. No, don't come on there.
Yeah, he was able to hang on. You don't want to come on the field, then all of a sudden you've got some ushers looking at you.
That's when you point. Which one of you guys went on the field? He did.
I don't have any cinders on me.
You know, if you're going to jump out on the field, you may as well go ahead and earn it. Just take off running all the way across the sucker.
Oh, no.
Just
Don't
kidding.
start that. Don't give anybody
Just
ideas.
kidding.
Out of play. Please.
Remember one time a guy came
earlier this year.
Oh, I know. He just forgot his clothes when he went on the field. One time, Yankee Stadium, a guy came out with a dozen red roses for Dave Winfield in left field with a motorcycle helmet on.
That guy did?
Oh, man. That was ugly. As they drug him off the field, his wife and child came over, too, and they all had on cycle helmets and went down the stairs with him.
What's ever happened to Morgana? I haven't seen her for a while.
Knee surgery.
Back surgery. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Bouncer, past Vinny. Aurelia will score the Giants lead at 2-1.
Let's take a look at Vinny as he tries to move to his left to make the play on this ball. The ball just scoots outside of the glove. That'd have been a pretty tough play for Castilla to try to make. Base hit into the outfield. And a run scores, 2-1 Giants.
For whatever reason, Vinny seems to move much better towards the line than he does towards the hole. Now Joe Carter. Carter hit into a sacrifice his first time up with the bases loaded. A ball in the hole that was speared by Perez, and he forced Kent at second base. Foul back. Carter with his 26th RBI with the Giants in that first inning. Who's hot? Lansing's a part of that. Joe Carter, the last 4 games, hitting .636.
It's just like the normal right fielder walking in and going, "Hey, Skip, what's up?" "What do you mean?" He said, "Joe's in the lineup." "Well, here, let me show you something."
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay, now I understand.
395 career home runs for Joe Carter. He's going to fall just shy, most likely, of 400 in his career. Well, who knows?
How about if he just came back next year to get 400 and then say, "Okay, I'm done." But then once you get 4, you want to get 5. And that was a big number for Mike Schmidt. Reggie Jackson.
Yeah.
What an honor.
Now 400 is quite a milestone, too. The 2-1 pitch is fouled away. K-Line ended up 1 short of 400, 399 in his career. Yaz just over 400. And look at his RBI total. Boy, that's amazing.
Why he's hit in his career. Played 2,000. This is 2,187th ball game.
Pop-up, shallow right field. Clemente coming in, and out goes Lansing, backpedaling. He's got it. Ooh, that ball had a little tail on it. Well, the Giants get 1 and a base hit from Jeff Kent, and the Giants have retaken the lead 2-1. And see the stars right in front of his face. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. The Giants have taken a 2-1 lead. John Thompson will lead off, followed by Hamilton and Perez, facing Sean Estes. McGuire with a home run tonight. Sosa with a home run tonight. J.D. Drew, a future rising star in the game, with 2 home runs tonight. He has 5 in just this month. J.D. Drew, the guy that was so controversial in baseball, who did not sign with the Phillies, was redrafted by the Cardinals. And the Cardinals say he's probably going to be in their outfield next year at the start of the season.
Made a pretty simple decision as far as free agency for Brian Jordan. He came up and performed the way he's performed. It leaves you a lot of opportunities there.
You imagine the pressure he had on him coming in because he sat out that year, but outside, boy, has he been able to perform.
Well, he was accepted because Mark McGwire stepped up in front of everyone in the clubhouse and said the kid can play. When you get a veteran player that will accept you in that role, and then you hit the home runs, everyone forgets pretty quick.
Swing and a miss, and down goes John Thompson. That's his 2nd strikeout for Sean Estes. As we update the scoreboard, brought to you by Coca-Cola. The Braves on top of the Mets in the 7th, 5-3. That's good news for the Giants. Also good news for San Francisco. The Astros leading the Cubs. Sosa with a 2-run homer to account for the Cubs' 2 runs. His 66th of the year. And the Cardinals with a home run from McGwire, also a 2-run homer. They lead the Expos 6-3. Strike 1 to Darrell Hamilton. Hamilton bounced out to Aurelia his first time up. In that Mets game, John Olerud is 0 for 2 with a walk. His average at .350. That's 10 points behind Larry Walker. Walker, I would think it's almost a shoo-in now for him to win the batting crown in the National League. He does have enough official plate appearances, even if he doesn't play the rest of the weekend. 2 strikes to Hamilton. That one just missed.
A fan doing her work downstairs, looking at the Rockies notes. A lot of scouts here right now at the ballpark. Clyde King, the super scout of the New York Yankees, is here in the ballpark. And that is if San Francisco were to win this wild card and then go on, he'll have all the book on the Frisco in case the San Francisco Giants, in case they get to the World Series and the Yankees get there.
A little blooper into shallow center field. Bernard, frozen in his tracks, makes the catch. Well, George, you talk about the scenarios in the National League, and it's really wacky because there's a good possibility, or at least a possibility, that Cubs, Mets, and Giants could all tie. Now, if that happens, the Mets will host the Giants at Shea on Monday. Then the winner of that game will play the Cubs, and the Cubs will go on the road either to Shea or to 3Com. Imagine the frequent flyer miles for Dusty Baker and the Giants. They could go from here to Shea, from Shea to 3Com, and then have to go to Atlanta to open the playoffs if they win that.
Well, obviously, he won't mind the mileage if they win. It's the long trip home from New York if you get there and lose after battling all the way back into this thing. There's so many scenarios to this that could happen. I mean, right now, if the Giants win, you got a 3-way tie. Now, all of a sudden, everybody, again, 1 wins, 2 loses, or however you want to put it. Even tonight, let's say Baker's team, Dusty's team ends up losing, and the Cubs and the other ones come back. They'll jump up to 2. They win the next 2. They lose the next 2. I mean, a lot of things can happen. It will keep your attention as a manager for the remaining of the weekend. I kind of kidded Dusty today. I said, all right, you got your wristbands on. Yeah. You got your toothpick. Yeah. You got everything else you need now. Where's the eye block, sunglasses? He goes, oh, I can't. It's night game. Everybody will laugh at me. I go, yeah, but you're 7 out of 8. In day games, you're playing pretty good. And he goes, I hadn't thought about that part.
I don't see the eye block, though. The 1-2 pitch to Perez, right back to Estes. He's got it, and the Rockies go in order in the 3rd. 3 in the books. Right now, San Francisco with the slimmest of margins, leading it 2-1. Coors Field with George Frazier. I'm Dave Armstrong. Enjoying this one tonight. Pretty good game, 2-1 in favor of the Giants as we move forward to the 4th inning.
You know, there's only one thing I hate about this booth. Just one thing. The brat stands right below us. And when they start cooking those suckers and it comes up here in the booth, drives me crazy. I could eat about 500 of those suckers. Man.
Yeah, we missed out on going to Milwaukee this year.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, they've got the best brats around.
Yes, they do.
J.T. Snow to lead off. He fouls it back. Snow lined out to Lansing his first time up, a soft liner to Laser. it was not a laser shot. You can go online with the Rockies. Get your computer. You're on the internet. Go www.coloradorockies.com and you're in.
You written anything lately?
I haven't.
You gotta get busy.
I know. I'm going to write some stuff in the offseason. Look forward to the '99 campaign. And by the way, it's only 189 days till the Rockies are back at Coors Field to take on the Boston Red Sox in a couple of exhibition games, April the 2nd and 3rd of '99. Can't wait.
That's the greatest part about this job. I get to see a lot of old friends playing the Red Sox and seeing Jimmy Williams, who managed me in 1978 in AAA.
What about me? I mean, what do you mean that's the greatest part?
I mean, seeing
just
guys
sitting
around.
next to me on a daily
Well,
basis.
that's not a bad deal. When you order pizza, it's a real good deal.
Oh, that's it.
Where are we at? 4
As long
innings?
as I
Are we
feed
4
you,
innings
you're
away?
okay?
Are we 4 innings away?
Yeah, we're close.
Pepperoni or cheese tonight?
Just cheese.
The pasta wasn't bad the other night.
That one lined over laser into right center field. Snow's looking like he wants to go for 2, and he does. And the throw is going to be late. Little confusion between Hamilton and Clemente, and Snow with a leadoff double.
Watch where Manwaring wants the pitches. It's so important location. Putting it where you want to, and this one hit into the outfield. Hamilton looks like he's circling to get the angle on the ball to make the throw. Clemente runs in front of him, and that delays it enough for Darrell to pick it up and get the ball back in. And Snow with the ball out in front of him, you really don't need to use your first base coach. You've got all that indication right in front of you, and you make the decision. And if you're safe, you're a hero. If you're not, you're the GOAT when you walk to the dugout.
Well, keep this in mind, too, that Clemente, a center fielder at AAA, so he's playing in right field. He's played there before, but he's trying to give way to Hamilton because he knows Hamilton's in charge out there. Strike 1 to Bill Miller. Miller with a single his first time up, right back through the box. Snow at second base with nobody out. See Thompson trying to paint outside. He doesn't want Bill Miller to pull the ball. That's what Miller's trying to do. At the very least, he wants to pull it and get Snow over to third. Well, they're already to the 8th inning in Atlanta. He doesn't pull it. Right to Perez. He freezes Snow at second and throws out Bill Miller. He did not do his job. Thompson did, though. Good pitching by John Thompson.
Ball's hit. He's got to get back because it's hit hard to Napey. Napey looking. He's trying to slow down to throw to first base, but Napey with the strong arm, easy to make the play at first and get Miller able to keep Snow at second base.
That's one of the little things, George, that goes down. You don't all the time notice it, but by Thompson, he's able to get Miller to hit it to short and keep Snow at second base. Now watch, if Johnson hits a fly ball to the outfield, I'll tell you what, the Giants are going to be kicking themselves.
Sure, it's just playing good fundamental baseball. You know, I asked one of their advanced scouts today, I said, what do you think it takes to beat the Rockies in this ballpark? And he said, it doesn't take a great pitching performance. It doesn't take a lot of hits. Boy, now that really upsets you as a pitcher to call that late. That's tough. But, so what you have to be able to do is just play good, fundamental baseball, and you can win in this ballpark.
You see Thompson a little bit peeved by the late timeout call.
A couple things can happen. I mean, you can end up hurting yourself as a pitcher. I mean, you try to follow through and you're thinking arm speed, body speed, location, and then all of a sudden you got to shut it down.
Foul tip held by Manwaring, 1-1. Atlanta 5, the Mets 3, that one in the 8th. Bouncing ball, Perez. He's got it in the hole. Lots of time with a catcher running. And he throws out Johnson. J.T. Snow still frozen in his tracks at second.
Well, what a great opportunity that the Giants have let pass. Runner at second, nobody out, but a great job by John Thompson to come through in the clutch with nobody out, a runner at second base, and to be able to get Miller on a ground ball and then Johnson on a ground ball. Good plays by Neifi Perez.
And now Sean Estes, the pitcher, up there.
Atlanta made a pitching change, so did New York, but they haven't posted for them. Atlanta has Rudy Cianez in the ball game right now, and they'll probably come in with Kerry Leitenberg late in the ball game. You know, it's one thing as managers will do. And that's why if Larry Walker was able to go tonight, he'd be in the lineup. As an opposing manager, with your ball club either out of it or already into the playoffs, you want to protect yourself. You don't want to be able to go out and say, in other words, you're not going to pitch Maddox or Glavine or Nagel or one of these guys 7 or 8 innings tonight. You're going to try to conserve as much as you can. You're not going to use some of your bullpen people. So that works to the advantage, I think, of Atlanta and of Houston. They're already there.
Fastball, strike 2 to Estes.
You know, I was visiting with Frank Pulley prior to the ballgame. Our friendship goes back almost 25 years, and I was telling Frank that the tough thing for McGuire right now, he's going to face guys he doesn't have a clue what they throw.
Yeah.
He's with Montreal now, going against them, all the AAA call-ups.
The 2-strike pitch. Did he offer? He did, and that'll do it. What a job of pitching by John Thompson. The lead double by J.T. Snow, but boy, it's like he had snowshoes on from there. He never advanced past second. Still 2-1 Giants going to the bottom of the 4th. Almost finished, and we're only not even to the halfway point. Gotta get another bottle, huh? Giants on top of the Rockies, 2-1. Rockies baseball is brought to you by the Rocky Mountain News. Now you can get 6 months Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for only $9.95. Call 1-800-892-NEWS for the sports and entertainment package. Dante Bichette will lead off, hoping to occupy that bag. Mike Lansing having his wrist wrapped. Taping that up, making it solid again. Sean Estes, well, so far he's given up just 2 hits. A single by Perez, that was a race and a double play. But then a triple by Edgar Clemente, scoring Todd Helton with the Rockies run. Bichette hit into the aforementioned double play his first time up. He leads off the 4th. He'll be followed by Castilla and Helton.
What a pitch count difference through 3 innings. Thompson had 66, Estes with just 43. But remember, the first inning pitch count for Thompson was up at 33.
Swing and a miss. Boy, New York making it close. I'm sure they're making that Giant dugout a little nervous. The Mets have added 1 in the 8th inning and now trail Atlanta by just 1. 5-4 Atlanta in the 8th. The Cubs still losing to Houston 5-2 in the 7th. Curve ball and a good one. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Bichette.
But if you look at Dante and how his preparation is prior to an at-bat, getting over the top of it, you see the stretch over the top, get the shoulders loose, very relaxed hands. Shot brought to you by U.S. West. See how relaxed his hands are before the pitch comes? I mean, that is so beautiful. You knew I had to say that one more time. I'll get greedy in there in a while. There again, another great look at it. If you talk to opposing scouts, you talk to opposing pitchers, you say, how would you pitch Dante? Everybody says, well, away, and then you jam him in. He said, but you better hope he's not looking in when you go in.
Yeah.
And he said, and you better hope he's not looking away when you go away. I said, well, then what you're telling me, you don't know how to pitch him. He goes, yeah, kind of like that. You just hope to get lucky. He's a little bit more in a crouch today, Dave, than he was yesterday in the upright position. When he's more upright, he's looking for power stroke. When he's crouched over, he's looking to drive the ball into the gaps, and if the home run happens, it happens. Very relaxed hands. I don't know if you guys sitting at home or women at all that play golf, you don't want to have real tense hands or wrist and lose a lot of control of the bat. That's why Dante has such good control of the bat.
Hits it down the line and right, but it's slicing foul, speaking of golf, and out of play. Still 3-2 to Bichette. Well, none other than John Olerud with the hit to score the run for the Mets. His average goes up to .351 with the hit, and the Mets within one of the Braves in the 8th. The Braves, if they win tonight, well, they wrap up the best record in the National League, and that means they'll have home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
What about some of the great matchups you're going to have in the first round, pitching-wise, possibilities?
A walk to Bichette, and Estes upset with himself. The lead walk to Dante. Yeah, you look at some of the pitching matchups you could have with stellar pitchers leading things off in both leagues.
Well, the 3 divisional winners will send out Maddox, Johnson, and Brown. Will be the first 3 that go out. They're only about 65 and what, 10 on the year. Outstanding cast there that'll go heads up against somebody.
Well, Vinny bounced out to short his first time up. Saw his numbers against lefties. Bouncing ball. Miller knocks it down. His throw to second in time to get Bichette. A good stretch by Kent. Well, Miller able to keep his body in front of it. Castilla at first on the fielder's choice.
Miller, normally the third baseman, does a pretty good job of trying to keep his body in front of it. Miller does that. Takes a hop up right at the very end. He takes it off the chest, but he's able to stay with it. That's a good lesson for you kids at home watching the game. And even though it goes off of your glove or your chest, stay with it. You still may have a play, as Miller did on Dante Bichette at second.
Helton the batter. The prototypical third baseman generally, George, is a guy with a big chest, a guy that can block a lot of balls down there.
Well, most guys wear chest protectors under the jerseys. You didn't know that?
No. No,
just kidding. Bet you didn't know Bill Miller went to Southwest Missouri State University and starred as a shortstop in college. Didn't know that, did you?
I did. I read that in the media guide.
Oh, you did?
Curveball in there for a strike. It's 1-1 to Helton. Houston has added another. They now lead the Cubs 6-2 in the 7th inning. You consider this, Sosa in that tough Cubs loss to Milwaukee the other day with 2 home runs to tie McGuire. Then Sosa tonight hits another home run to, at least for the moment, take the lead in the home run derby. But yet the Cubs lose the one the other day and are losing tonight 6-2 in the 7th. Castilla at first base with 1 out. 1-2 pitch to Helton. He jammed it. Snow's got it to second for 1. The relay not in time. So again, the Giants force the lead runner.
They're doing exactly what everyone said they had to do to win in this ballpark. They're playing fundamentally sound. A lot of ground ball outs, being able to cut down the lead runner.
Now it's up to Mike Lansing. Snow, an outstanding first baseman. He has 3 Gold Gloves on his mantle. Estes. Thinking, how did he get Lansing the last time? Snow only 1 error all year. Will he add a 4th Gold Glove? One of only 7 players in baseball history to have Gold Gloves in both leagues.
Mets trying to make it tough, aren't they, Dave? Dennis cooking the ball game now in the 8th for the Mets.
Mets within 1. Well, if the Mets and the Cubs both lose tonight and the Giants win, well, you'll look in the papers tomorrow and there will be a 3-way tie for the wild card in the National League. And again, the focus is on Nymatl and Chnhou. Bouncing ball. Aurelia. He'll flip it to Kent, and that'll do it. Lead walk, not costly to Estes. Go to the 5th inning. 2-1 Giants. Wacky partner George Frazier. I'm Dave Armstrong. Well, George, this one's a pitcher's duel. The first two on the homestand have been wild.
Well, you got to credit Sean Estes and John Thompson both with going out and throwing strikes and doing what they're supposed to do, getting ahead in the count. A lot of the Rockies, I think, swinging at first pitch counts, and that's what's helped Thompson through this, and it's also helped Estes through his situation. Look at his pitch count by numbers, by innings. 30 in the first, settles down 15, 21, 14 in the fourth, but 80 total pitches through 4, an average of 20. You'd like to see that down around 50 to 60 pitches right now through 4 would be a comfortable number for Thompson. Typically, when he gets around 100, he's usually out of the ball game. So he looked to figure to John Thompson to maybe have 1 or 2 more innings left in this ball game.
He'll face the top of the order, Marvin Bernard, to lead off the 5th inning. Bernard looks at a fastball high. Bernard so far in the game 0 for 2, a couple of fly ball outs. Sean Estes, he's done a terrific job checking the Rockies on 1 run on 2 hits tonight. Sean Estes, who spent a couple of months on the disabled list, giving the Giants a big lift here tonight. (3-0) to Marvin Bernard. This happened the other day. You remember when Thompson was pitching, and he was pitching a gem, in fact, against the Giants, and all of a sudden the wheels just fell off. He had 1 out in the 7th inning, and he walked the next 2 batters. That's when Bonds came in, and McElroy gave up a 3-run homer. A 4-pitch walk to Marvin Bernard, and all 4 pitches way high. Now the lead walk to Bichette didn't cost Estes. Let's see if Thompson can pitch around the lead walk here to Marvin Bernard.
Well, remember too, Dave, the fact that anytime you have a young pitcher out on the mound, you won't rely on him quite as much as you will a veteran to tell you I've had enough, or I'm wore out, or I can't go any more pitches. Now what might get Thompson's pitch count extended a little bit, it's the last game of the year that he'll start.
Rich Aurelia has been a tough out, 2 for 2. Rockies hoping to turn a double play. There goes Bernard to throw down, not nearly in time. Bernard had that one stolen easily.
It's just another part of the ball game I think that John Thompson has to work on. That's holding runners at first base, making an attempt to throw to first. But as soon as the leg moves, watch the heel. As soon as the heel moves, you saw Bernard leaning towards second. By that time, there's no chance at all for Manwaring to have a throw at second in time to get him.
Well, in the case of all 3 of the young Rocky pitchers, Thompson, Bobby Jones, who really doesn't have a good move at all, and Jamie Wright, who has a great pickoff move to first, but a little bit slow to the plate. Those 3 guys still have something to learn about holding the runners. The bunt to Helton. He'll throw to Lansing covering. The sacrifice down. This time, Dusty Baker not leaving it to chance. You'll remember the lead double by Snow in the 4th. They let Miller swing away, but here Aurelia bunts him over. And now John Thompson will have to face Bonds with most likely the infield in. And we'll see if they pitch to Bonds.
Well, Dusty using the advantage of the 2-hole hitter. If you're a 2-hole hitter in any lineup, you got to be able to hit and run, handle the bat, bunt when you're asked to do that. And Aurelia did that. Advanced the runner.
The infield is in. Bonds to Helton. He'll take it to the bag on contact. Bernard comes home. So Bernard scoring on the play. Bonds will get credit for an RBI, and the Giants have the lead 3-1. So the lead walk, a stolen base, a sacrifice, and Bonds able to come home on a bouncer. Or excuse me, Aurelia able to come home on the Bonds bouncer.
Well, bad fundamental baseball by John Thompson with the leadoff walk. Good fundamental baseball by Dusty Baker and the San Francisco Giants. As you said, the stolen base. Advanced to third on a sack. Then Bonds does his job as a professional, pulls the ball to the right side, and Bernard comes in to score. 3-1 ball game.
Ball 1 to Kent. 2 gone in the 5th, but 1 big run in. Atlanta has gone in front by 2 again. Javi Lopez with an RBI double in the bottom of the 8th. Atlanta leading the Mets 6-4. You've been involved in pennant races before, George, and when you're sitting out in the bullpen or in the dugout and those scores are posted out there, aren't you just like cheering and going crazy with every time a number is posted?
Well, I think you get real excited about the situation, but what you try to do too is take your mental focus where you're at right now.
Right.
And everybody in the bullpen realizes what their job is, and when it passes that innings, that's when you can kind of relax unless a ball game gets into extra innings. The guys that are under the microscope, the guys that have all the pressure now, there's guys like Rob Nen, that's your closer for San Francisco. It happened to Rod Beck in Milwaukee 2 days ago. Everybody's going to remember Brant Brown dropping a 2-out fly ball in the left field. Does anybody remember that Beck gave up 2 base hits and a walk to load the bases before the opportunity for Brant Brown to do that? And do they remember that the bullpen and the starting pitcher, and you look at the bullpen from Frisco, do you also remember the Cubs with a 7-0 lead and blow the ball game? So all those things come into account, and can a young man like Brant Brown be able to go ahead and focus throughout the rest of his career if the Cubs come up 1 game short?
Well, they look pretty relaxed right now, and that's because Sean Estes is dealing.
Well, Estes is dealing, but you got Rob Nen, who went through a World Series last year with Florida as your closer. Rich Rodriguez has done a nice job from the left side as a setup man. Don't forget they lost Rick Reed, that pitched here and went on. Steve Reed, that went on and pitched to Cleveland, but they got Jose Mesa in return for him. They think Mesa can overpower people, which he can if he's throwing strikes. So the bullpen's strong for the Giants, and with 3 games to go in the year, Danny Darwin, who's pitched as a reliever and as a starter for this year and in his career, is down in the bullpen. That's given a little more veteran advice as in the bullpen to some of the younger players.
Now here's Joe Carter. Now you were a veteran on that Minnesota team. Were they coming to you for advice?
Yeah, you'd get some of the younger guys would come to you and say, what's it going to be like in the playoffs? What's going to happen into the World Series? And I think the only thing you can do as a veteran is just say, stay focused. That's all you can do, because the crowd noise, as you very well know, in the Metrodome in Minneapolis is just you can't hear.
Ball 1 to Joe Carter, who so far is 0 for 2 but has an RBI. The Yankees won again tonight, 6-1 over Tampa Bay. That's win number 112 for New York. That's an all-time best Yankee franchise record for wins in a season. They won't catch the Cubs, though, who finished with 116 wins 1 year. Hop foul behind home plate.
I got it.
No, you don't.
Not over by me?
Not even close.
Okay. Well, it's in the 9th now, and Atlanta has brought in their closer, Kerry Lightenberg.
Yep.
Well, he's probably the MVP of that team. A lot of guys point that way just because of what he's been able to accomplish. You lose Mark Wohlers, and you lose a closer that can go out and get 40 saves a year and close a ball game out at the end. Trust me, you ask a lot of guys, where would they be right now if Kerry Lightenberg wouldn't have come through and got 30-plus saves this year?
Hit hard to left. Bichette getting over there in a hurry, trying to cut it off. He does. He'll throw behind the runner Kent at second, but Kent gets back. Nice play by Bichette to keep that one from going to the wall.
You look at a veteran turning on a fastball up in the strike zone. Dante Over will backhand the ball and then try a little sneak attack. Looks like he's stepping towards third. Kent round second. The throw back in. A quick tag by Lansing, closer than what you might expect.
Now JT Snow. Well, it's 3-1 now. Certainly John Thompson doesn't want to give up anything more with 2 aboard and 2 out here in the 5th inning. Well, you mentioned Kerry Lightenberg, and I agree with you. What a performance he's put on this year. But I guess that big question mark hanging over his head with limited playoff experience, how will he react as a closer in the playoffs? And
you don't have anybody else to go to. You think in recent years in their bullpen you had other guys, veteran guys, you could go to.
Vinny's going to have to make a quick throw. He does. Nice play, Vinny Castilla. But the Giants manufacture a run, a lead walk to Bernard. He steals second, goes to third on a sacrifice, and scores on a bouncer. Halfway through, the Giants by 2. By Bank One, the home of Rockies banking. Bank 1-1, member FDIC. and by AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Frank Funk talking to John Thompson about flying out just a little bit, and that's what caused the 4-pitch walk to Marvin Bernard. Sean Estes, who has been tough. He's only given up 2 hits, a single by Perez and a triple by Clemente. Clemente to lead off. His triple over Bonds. He's playing deep now in left field. He hit a shot over Bonds for a 3-base hit. The ball hit the wall and then bounced again past Bonds into shallow left center. By the time Bonds got it, Clemente was at third, and Helton had scored the Rockies' only run.
That's what you see with Johnson going down out to the mound now to visit with Estes, just to calm him down and get him focused on what's going on and say, hey, you've got a 3-1 lead. We're in the bottom half of the 5th. Stay ahead of the hitters. That's what you've done the whole ball game. You haven't fallen behind in the count. They haven't been able to work you. Look at his pitch total, 61 total pitches through 4 innings. Not that bad.
2-0 pitch is fouled off. That's off the front foot of Clemente. It's 2-1. Well, they're in the 9th in both Atlanta and Houston. We know some that aren't playing on that Giant bench are watching that scoreboard closely, hoping they put an F up for a final. Atlanta leading 6-4 in the 9th, and Houston over the Cubs 6-2 in the 9th. Foul ball, and it's 2-2.
Anytime a young hitter comes to the big league, typically what a veteran pitcher will try to do is get ahead in the count and knock the bat out of your hand. Work the fastball inside. Estes tried that. Clemente hit the triple, as you said earlier, so now he's going down with the breaking balls and changeups and curveballs down out of the strike zone. There was another one.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Edgar Clemente. All right, what are you going to call here?
3-2, you don't want to walk him. You've got a 2-run lead. Just call a heater down and away. Estes seems to want to throw the changeup.
He does, and he gets it.
Yeah, that's part of a maturity process too for a young hitter like Clemente that's coming into the big leagues. How many times has he seen a 3-2 changeup? Not very often.
Maybe one tonight.
Yeah, right there he saw one. First time for everything. Now look at it through your US West home plate cam. Ball in the middle of the plate, just down in the strike zone.
So 1 big out for Estes, and now Manwaring, who bounced out to second, his first time up. Strike 1 to Manwaring. Well, Sammy Sosa just struck out in the 9th inning, so he finishes the night 1 for 3, but that one, a big hit, a home run, a 2-run homer for Sosa. And that's number 66 for him. In case you just joined us, McGuire, yes, he also homered in St. Louis tonight. So they each have 66. Cardinals are still playing. They're hosting Montreal and leading 6-3 in the 8th. Too high, 3-1 to Manwaring. Oakland in front of Anaheim, George, 2-0 in the 2nd. If Oakland wins that game, Texas has wrapped up the West in the American League. Texas and Seattle scoreless in the 3rd. If Texas wins, they can wrap it up that way too. Now to play, 3-2 now to Mano.
I wonder what feelings Manwaring might have towards the Giants as they go towards the pennant race. Obviously would love to call a good ball game. His former ball club, the Giants, and still has a number of friends on that ball club.
Ball, still 3-2. And he lost him. So Manwaring with a 1-out walk. Now time to spin the album a little bit. already told you about the Rangers. They're 3 up on Anaheim. So if they win any of their last 3, or Anaheim loses any of their last 3 at Oakland, the Rangers will win the West and join the Yankees, the Indians, and the Red Sox in the playoffs. The Yankees with their 112th win tonight. That's 2 better than any other Yankee team ever. 110 for the 27 Yanks. And Hurricane George postpones the Phillies and the Marlins. That game will not be made up. So now pinch hitting for John Thompson will be Kurt Abbott, and another Curtis Leskanic is up in the bullpen.
Thompson really didn't pitch that poorly. He just doesn't want to come out of the ball game after 5 innings. He gave up 3 hits, or 7 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. 97 pitches in the ball game for John Thompson. It's the last game of the year. I'm sure he wanted to stay there and try to get the W and get number 9.
Well, Abbott has a pinch hit home run this year. If he does that again, we'll be tied. Estes starts him off with a changeup outside. Strike 1 to Abbott. Abbott has done a great job as a pinch hitter this year. Abbott much better at the plate since getting his eyes checked. Some contacts. He's been able to focus now, and he said before the ball was coming in a little bit of a blur, and now he sees it clearly. It makes a huge difference. Remember Ted Williams. The ball gets away from Johnson. He bumps Abbott out of the way. Ted Williams had such great eyesight. With an album spinning at 78 RPMs, he could read the label on the album.
Man. Well, look at the wild pitch here. It gets out in front, and he gets a little shove to Abbott to try to get to the ball, and Abbott giving a stare to Brian Johnson. He's trying to get a hold of the baseball.
2-1 now to Abbott, and he fouls it out of play.
I think Abbott's one of those guys, Dave, that you like on your ball club because he's got good speed, can come off of the bench and swing the bat, hit the ball out of the ballpark, play anywhere in the infield except maybe first base, and has played right and left field for the Rockies. So very valuable utility man for the Rockies to look to the future with.
Yep. Again out of play, and the Rockies are going to have some decisions to make. Most notably in center field, maybe behind the plate, and certainly as far as their bench is concerned. Way too high. 3-2 after Estes walked Manwaring. Now a full count on Abbott. Well, final score in from Houston. That's good news for the Giants. The Astros beat the Cubs 6-2. Sammy Sosa hits number 66, but boy, he'd rather have the win. Cubs have now lost 2 in a row. Jose Lima picks up the win. Tapani suffers his 9th loss with 19 wins. Houston and Bell each homered for the Astros. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Abbott. Rockies trying to come back here in the bottom of the 5th inning. He likes that changeup on 3-2, doesn't he?
Well, it's an ultimate of surprise.
Ball 4.
If you throw it for a strike or get it near the strike zone, the hitter swings at it, you're not going to hit it with a lot of authority. But with 1 out, he's come up with 2 straight walks in a row. Now you faced Darrell Hamilton, who has performed very well with runners in scoring position.
Now Abbott's sitting over there in the on-deck circle watching the at-bat with Clemente, actually sitting on the bench, and he saw a 3-2 changeup. He might have been expecting that, being the veteran player he is.
Well, you didn't see that his hands flew. He stayed back pretty well on the ball,
right.
Was able to explode on it if it's up in the strike zone.
Well, Hamilton now with 2 aboard and only 1 out. Curveball fouled out of play. Look at that. 427 since the 20th of May. It's been terrific for the Rockies in this regard.
A lot of big hits against left-handed starters, too, in this situation. We won't be fooled by Estes.
Outside, 1-1. Well, we'll give you an update in Atlanta with 2 out and a runner at third. The Braves hanging on by 1 in the 9th inning. Did he go? He did. A ball and 2 strikes to Hamilton. So Lightenberg making it pretty interesting, isn't he?
Well, Lightenberg's still in the ball game as of now. Now they've made a pitching change in Atlanta. To see who came in now for the Braves as they made a switch and now have John Rocker in, the left-hander, and Lightenberg's out of the ball game.
So a situational switch for Bobby Cox in Atlanta, but that can't bode well. You don't want to go into the final weekend wondering about Lightenberg if he can close the deal.
One thing about it for sure, they won't go to Wohlers. He's on the 60-day disabled list.
Yep. The 1-2 pitch, he checks this time, and it's 2-2.
Well, the discipline that Darrell Hamilton shows at the plate in tight situations is it's almost he takes it as a leadoff type inning, and he's so patient with pitches. That one up out of the strike zone. You see a lot of guys swing at a pitch like that. Darrell just watched it go by.
Johnson did something kind of unusual there, George. He kind of tapped the glove, and he did it way outside, I think trying to decoy Hamilton.
Well, the less movement you have behind the plate, the better you have as far as location. See how he's tapping way outside? That's to give Hamilton to think that they're going away again, and the pitch was back on the inside half.
One of those subtle little things by Brian Johnson. Now Hamilton wants time. A little cat and mouse game going on right now between Johnson, Estes, and Hamilton. Way outside now, 3-2. And a decision to make. Manwaring does not run well at second base. Hamilton, though, a good contact hitter. What do you do with the runners with 1 out?
Dusty Baker's going to go out and try to figure out what's going on with Sean Estes and visit with him for a minute on the mound and discuss with him your game plan instead of just rearing back and throwing.
Is this tough on a pitcher, George, to have a guy come out and maybe break your momentum a little bit right in the middle of an at-bat, especially a 3-2 count?
Well, there's a lot of ways to handle it. You can walk out in the middle of the mound right now, 3 balls, 2 strikes, and you can joke around a little bit to try to get him loosened up. A veteran guy like Dusty Baker look in the eyes and just see maybe if things are getting a little tense inside the eyes, or you start to think about this more than you should versus just pitching as you did the first 4 innings. And he'll make that decision and go back and figure out if there's a way to get somebody loose in the bullpen.
And they're getting warmed up in a hurry out in that bullpen right now, as you see. A lot of pitches for Sean Estes this inning. Hamilton wants time again. This is almost like calling time with a guy at the free throw line trying to freeze the pitcher. The 3-2 pitch, the runner's not going, and it's a good thing. Hamilton strikes out.
Yeah, big pitch from Sean Estes. Look at the location. Outside corner, knee high, fastball for the strikeout. What they're having a meeting about now, they're concerned maybe that Manwaring has picked up the signs off of Johnson and are relaying those into the hitters as far as location. So now they'll go back and sure that Brian Johnson will just give it a late move behind the plate to set up for the pitch.
Manwaring talking to Aurelia. What's going on here, guys? Maybe Perez looks at a big hook for strike 1. Perez with one of only 2 hits for the Rockies tonight.
He's got 8 home runs, 6 of those from the right side. Sure, Sean Estes might be thinking a little bit about that, but look at the distance of how far Kent is back behind at second base, all the way back on the grass. Don't be surprised if Nafee doesn't try to push it towards second. Kent's not moved in at all. See, third base has come in. Miller's in on the grass here, but Kent's playing deep. JT Snow deep. So what's going to happen is Estes, who falls off to the third base side, would have to recover and make that play, and it'd be a tough one for him to make.
Yeah, but if you do that with 2 out, you're kind of leaving it up to Bichette. You're leaving it up to the next guy.
Yeah. It's not a bad guy to leave it up to.
Well, you're right. Dante hoping that Perez can get aboard.
Well, it counts in his favor. 2 balls and a strike.
Bouncing ball, just foul. Right at third.
See, and what Estes has done, Dave, is he's pitching backwards. Now, you normally, if you look at a count, 2 balls and a strike as a hitter, you would think they would throw a fastball and it would be in a location. Let down and away from you. 30 pitches so far in the inning for Sean Estes. But he's pitching backwards versus pitching a normal way. So as a hitter now, you back up and go, okay, wait a second. You know, 2 balls and a strike, he threw me a changeup. What's he going to come with here? He did that to Darrell Hamilton and went with fastball away on the outside half for the strikeout.
Manwaring and Abbott, the base runners. And 2s are wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on. Another foul ball. And it's still 2-2. You get the sense that perhaps this is the last batter that Estes will face. Julian Tavares is warming in the pen, and you kind of get the feeling that he would come on to face Bichette if Perez keeps the inning alive. Estes is scheduled to bat third for the Giants when they come to the plate in the 6th inning, so you know Dusty wants him to get through the frame. Good stop there by Johnson. He didn't even know he had it. Well, now the runners will be moving. 3-2 with 2 out.
It's a nice stop by Johnson, but as you alluded to it, Dave, I don't know that he even thought he had the ball till after it got all the way around him. He just scoops it. The ball exploded. Maybe that was the old deke. Get Manwaring to think he doesn't know where it is, and he takes off for third, and you throw the third.
Well, final in now from Atlanta. The Braves do beat the Mets. So right now, to the minute, the Giants are a half game back in the wild card. Fouled on a play by Perez. Chen picked up his 3rd win. Reed suffered the loss. He's 16-11 now. Andrew Jones hit a home run for the Braves. They win 6-5. Well, the Braves now 104 wins. In the wild card, the Giants just a half back. And they're leading this one. If the Giants hang on and win here tonight, we'd have a 3-way tie for the lead in the wild card with just 2 games to go in the regular season.
And how hard is it for Dusty Baker? Don't you know he wants to stand up and start jumping around?
Bouncing ball, base hit. Manwaring will score. Going to third, Abbott on the single from Perez. So Napi comes through, and the Rockies have pulled within 1.
Napi works the count to 3 balls and 2 strikes, and then the base hit to left field by Napi. Look at his side swing, how the front foot opened up on a pitch on the inside half, and it drills it to left field. Right past the diving shortstop, Rich Aurelia. They come up with a ball, but no play by Bonds anywhere. Abbott ends up at third, Perez at first, and Manwaring scores it. Now it's 3-2 ball game, and Dusty Baker. It's a tough decision for Dusty to make right now. Estes off the back of the mound, wanting Dusty to get a little eye contact with him. Not going to happen. Dusty's probably walk to the mound, Dave, and point to the scoreboard and say, you look now, you know why I'm out here the 2nd time and making this move as I am now. Look at the board. Those 2 lose. We need a W.
So the call goes to the bullpen, and in comes Julian Tavares on the U.S. West pitching change. Tavares will come on to face Dante Bichette, and we'll watch the confrontation in a moment. Bichette can come through, but the Rockies now trailing 3-2. Bichette to face Julian Tavares. Tavares just coming off his suspension. He served a 3-game suspension for an altercation earlier this year. But since the altercation and since the suspension, he has done very well.
Well, you look at his numbers, you can see that he's a workhorse out of the bullpen. 58 appearances. This will be his 59th, but look at the innings pitched. 83 1/3, 51 strikeouts. One of the better arms in baseball. It's just he's never been able to grab a hold, I don't think, of, Dave, a role that suited him. He's been tried as a closer. He's been tried in setup. He's tried as a starter. So far this year, a pretty nice job of setting up for Rob Nen.
Long way to go to Nen. We're only in the bottom of the 5th inning, and Bichette is going to try to at least tie it with Abbott at third, Perez at first, and 2 out. Bouncing ball foul. Strike 1. Well, the Giants helped out tonight by both the Braves and the Astros as the Mets and the Cubs lose. Well, the Giants a half game behind now. Two walks, very costly to Sean Estes, and a big base hit with 2 out by Nafi Perez. A single homer run. Into right field. It'll drop. Carter has to play it on a hop. Perez goes to third. Coming home on the base hit, Abbott, and the Rockies have tied it at 3.
Trying to work the ball down and away. It's a fastball that Taveras gets up in the strike zone. Dante with the bat up, gets a line shot to right field. Carter is able to knock the ball down. He gives chase. Abbott in to score from third base. Perez goes all the way to third from first after his base hit. Now you got to contend with Vinny Castilla. 140 RBIs on the year, 141. This is not a position you want to be in.
So Vinny Castilla with 2 aboard and 2 out. Swing and a miss, and right now there are 2 clubhouses cheering wildly. In Atlanta, the Mets clubhouse is going crazy, and in Houston, the Cubs clubhouse is celebrating.
I've gone back home and turned on the satellite dishes, picking this ball game up.
Bouncing ball in the hole. Stopped by Aurelia. No play, though, and Perez scores the Rockies' lead. Taveras comes in to face Bichette and Castilla, and they both get a base hit.
Castilla's ball is hit right into the hole. It's a good job by Aurelia to be able to dive and knock the ball down, but there's not going to be any chance at all to be able to get Castilla at first base. RBI number 142 for Castilla. Now Dusty Baker's got a decision to make. Rich Rodriguez, the left-hander, up in the bullpen ready to go. His club trailing by 1, and Todd Helton at the plate.
Helton 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored tonight. Rodriguez, the lefty, is ready to go if called upon. So the Rockies, with 2 out and 2 aboard, get 3 singles in a row. Singles by Messrs. Perez, Bichette, and Castilla. Bichette and Castilla are the base runners right now. Perez has scored. Manwaring and Abbott have also scored, and the Rockies have their first lead of the ball game. 2-0 to Todd Helton. Helton with a good cut. He fouls it back. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Well, Taveras basically a 2-pitch pitcher, Dave. Fastball, slider. So now he puts himself in a position where you're behind in the count. You've got to go to your strength, which is a good fastball, but that's also Todd Helton's strength. See if he can make him pay, and if the location is poorly.
Helton in his last game Wednesday night with 2 home runs. Wastes that pitch and probably wishes he hadn't gone after it. 2 balls, 2 strikes now to Helton. Sean Estes. Now he is on target to pick up the loss if the Giants don't come back. Into left. That's a foul ball. Boy, it just missed the line by a foot.
You can tell when Todd Helton's in a groove simply because he'll take a lot of pitches to the other way and then he'll turn on a fastball inside half. This ball foul by inches.
Ooh. I take it back. That wasn't a foot. You're right. That was inches. 2 balls, 2 strikes still to Helton with 2 out, 3 in, and still 2 aboard. All the runs this inning charged to Sean Estes, the starter. Bouncing ball. It's hit by Kent. Bichette being waved home. Here comes the throw. Safe.
You can credit Gene Glenn with that 100%. The ball hit to the right side. Kent tries to knock this ball down. It's hit hard by Helton, right on the screws, right at him. And as he took his eye off of it, then he reaches back to go back and get the ball, thinking, well, I can hold Bichette at third. But watch Gene Glenn. He's sending him the whole way home. Dante coming in hard from second base. Comes in and scores. It's an error on Kent. No RBI awarded to Helton. Gino did a nice job coaching third base there.
Absolutely a tip of the hat. You don't expect Bichette to score on a play like that, but Dante does from second base. And now Lansing, the 9th man to come to the plate for the Rockies here in the 5th inning. And the Rockies doing all the damage with 2 out. The 2 walks by Estes to Manwaring and Abbott, very costly. But then the single by Perez, followed by the singles from Bichette and Castilla, and then the error on Ken and Ron Peranowski. He's looking at the board to see what he can do.
I was trying to figure out, do we go down into the bullpen? You get Rodriguez into the ball game to face Helton, then you got to go right back again.
Swing and a miss by Lansing. So when you look at bullpen ERAs, the Giants, they have the best. But boy, right now, Julian Taveras, a bit of bad luck. A squibber by Bichette in front of Carter and Wright. Castilla with an infield hit, and then the error on Kent to allow another run to score.
And you noticed on that graphic too, the Rockies bullpen 5th ranked in the National League by earned run average.
Yeah, that's saying something for that bullpen. They've done a terrific job, even better than 95 when the Rockies went to the playoffs as the wild card representative.
Well, one other thing, Dusty Baker, I think he's trying to keep from making a double switch too, because you've got Estes was the 3rd hitter in the inning. You'd like to see Taveras get out of this one and make the pinch hit someone off the bench in the top half of the 6th.
So far, a 4-run 5th. The Rockies by 2. Inside, 3-2. And also keep in mind, if the Rockies hang on to the lead and go on to win, it would make John Thompson a winner. He went 5 innings. Again will be activated. 3-2 with 2 out. The Giant pitchers with 50 pitches this inning. That's not all by Taveras, but Estes contributed. What did he have, about 30, 31?
He had 34 in the inning, 16 now by Taveras.
And the 3-2 pitch to Lansing is ball 4. That'll load him up.
You see Castilla at third base. Helton at second. Lansing at first, and Ron Farinowski out to the mound to visit with Taveras to calm him down, try to get him focused, get locked back into the strike zone. I think this is a great boost of confidence for Edgar Clemente. With the bases loaded, your club up by 2, you're going to give an opportunity to a young hitter to face in a crucial situation.
Well, this inning started when Clemente struck out on a 3-2 changeup from Sean Estes, but then Estes walked Manwaring, walked the pinch hitter Abbott, struck out Hamilton, but then Perez came through on a 3-2 count with the runners moving. Manwaring able to score on a single from Perez to left. That chased Estes from the game. The Rockies have added another and have them loaded. John Thompson watching it all unfold, and chance for him to pick up a win. Ball 1. Clemente with an RBI triple, his first time up. Frozen by that pitch, and it's 1 ball 1 strike. Well, in Oakland, the A's leading the Angels 4-0 in the 5th inning. Seattle is beating Texas 4-0 in the 4th, but if Oakland beats the Angels, then Texas wraps up the West. Here comes the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss.
Well, you've seen a lot of respect shown here by Taveras, too. Yet to throw a fastball to Clemente. All breaking balls in this at bat.
Final in 2 from St. Louis, where the Cards hung on and beat Montreal 6-5. McGuire hit number 66, so he and Sosa tied at 66, each hitting a home run tonight. Down low, another off-speed pitch. 2-2 to Clemente. Well, you know right now Taveras wants to get him with a count 2-2. He does not want to go to 3-2 and activate the runners again.
There's a lot said about the adjustment you make in the altitude. Taveras really pulling hard on the slider, and it's breaking out of the strike zone, but Clemente not suckering in to swing at it.
Swing and a miss. He does swing at that one. But the Rockies come through with 2 out, a bunch of singles started by Neifi Perez. That scored the first run of the inning. And then Dante Bichette came up and hit a single to right, followed by an infield hit from Vinny Castilla. Before it was done, the Rockies scored 4 and lead by 2. The mat with a 4-run 5th inning, and now take a 2-run lead into the 6th. Following the game, Wendy Brockman and Ernie Bjorkman will bring you up to date on local and world events. That's information you need. WB2 News right after the game. Curtis Leskanik now on in relief of John Thompson, who is on track for a win if the Rockies can hang on. Bill Miller looks at the first pitch high from Leskanik, who is making his 65th appearance of the year. Bouncing ball to Helton. Leskanik covering. He's got it. 1 quick out in the 6th.
Leskanik has been a workhorse down in the bullpen for the Rockies all year long. You know, he leads the club at 71% of inherited runners not scoring out of the bullpen. So he's been brought into a lot of tough situations, and he has succeeded for the Rockies.
His career versus the Giants, and who can forget 1995 with Leskanik on the mound and Jeff Reed at the plate. Reed hitting a bouncing ball to Galarraga, and the Rockies wrapped up the wild card. I'm sure many of you still have visions of the Rocky players storming over that fence in front of the dugout and the big celebration that ensued. Bouncing ball hits Leskanik and on into center field. Now Johnson with a single up the middle.
This is when you yell at the guy and say, can't you pull it somewhere else? That's why I got all these guys behind me. Quit hitting it back at me. Leskanik tries to catch it. He falls off to the first base side, off the shoulder and into the outfield for a base hit.
Now a pinch hitter for the Giants, Armando Rios, is going to come up and hit for Julian Tavares. Now Rios as a pinch hitter had a lot of action, but 2 for 4 and both hits home runs. Too high from Leskanic, ball 1.
Probably been put up in situations late in the ball game or with his club trailing, men on base. Swing the bat, son. Close your eyes, swing as hard as you can, hope something good happens.
Strike right through there, and it's 1-1.
Lazer's done a nice job of, Leskanic's done a nice job getting ahead of the hitters and working the ball down in the strike zone. Start thinking about Laser wanting a double play.
Yeah, he'd love it right at him. The Rockies have turned a double play tonight and 192 this year. It's a bunch of twin killers. Swing and a miss. Leskanic took something off that one, the slider, and Rios way out in front. Well, if he strikes out, what's the saying then? Blame it on Rios?
Here you go again. You're starting that again.
I'm sorry. I said I would lay off tonight. Sometimes I just can't help it.
4 through 7. That's all right.
Ooh, good slider, but just missed, and it's 2-2. Another slider. It's 3 in a row, but now the count is full.
And then you work yourself back up into the top half of that lineup where you get to Bernard and Aurelia, who swung the bat well tonight. And of course, you've got to always remember about Bonds and Carter and Kent.
Fastball coming. Uh-oh. Ahead 1-2. He walks Rios. So 2 aboard for the Giants in the 6th. Leskanic, who went through that record-breaking stretch, over 21 scoreless innings. Well, since then, he's been giving up runs at an alarming pace, and Frank Funk back on the phone to the bullpen. Marvin Bernard, the batter. He walked on 4 pitches to open the 5th. And scored the Giants' 3rd run. Ball 1. Mike Munoz starts to get loose. Munoz, you know, he's getting ready for a guy named Bonds.
Faced him earlier this year on 2 occasions, a strikeout and a flyout when he faced Bonds.
Lansing can't get it. On into right field. They're going to wave Johnson home. Clementi's throw comes to second. A big base hit by Bernard. And the Giants have pulled it within 1.
You got your ground ball to try to turn the double play. It's just hit awfully hard off of the bat of Bernard. And Lansing dives, tries to get to the ball. As it gets into the right field area, then it's no chance for Clementi at all to throw out Johnson at the plate. The Giants end up with runners at 1st and 3rd. A big base hit by Rios as he came on and pinch hit for Tavares.
And look out for Bernard. Remember, he stole a base the last time he got aboard. Rich Aurelia, the batter, a couple of singles and a sacrifice. He has scored 2 runs tonight. So now your attention is back. You're trying to keep Bernard close to the bag, but also worrying about Aurelia. You want to keep him at the bag to keep the double play in order. Too high. And here comes Frank Funk. While he visits, I want to remind you to join us in spring training next spring in Arizona. 1-800-8 warm-up, the number to call for information on special travel packages.
Well, that's the time to go to spring training. You want to get around some of the players and have some fun. A lot more accessible in the parking lots, up in the stands. Not as much pressure as there is during the regular season on the players, except for the guys trying to make the ball club.
Skanek facing a bit of pressure here. Funk trying to get him to calm down. 1-0 to Aurelia with runners at the corners, and Munoz getting ready, most likely for the guy coming up, Barry Bonds. That is, unless Aurelia hits into an inning-ending double play. Rios is at third, and Marvin Bernard is at first.
Skanek's getting frustrated with himself because he's not able to get the ball over the plate. Nothing more frustrating if you're a pitcher when you don't get a hitter to swing at a pitch that you want them to, or you get a call from an umpire, or your inability to throw strikes.
2-0 pitch is past Perez. Rio scores on the base hit by Rich Aurelia. And just like that, the Giants have come back to tie it 5-5. Giants may not be done yet. Now Barry Bonds coming up with 2 aboard, and here comes Baylor to go get Curtis Leskanic. Leskanic got Miller to start the frame, and then a single by Johnson, the walk to Rios, and then singles by Bernard and Aurelia, and the Giants have tied it at 5. Now Munoz coming on to face Barry Bonds with 2 aboard and only 1 out as Rios scores the tying run. We're coming back to Coors Field in a moment. It's been busy tonight. 5-5 our score now in the 6th inning. So now John Thompson can't get the win. The Giants have tied it up, and Mike Munoz has come on in a tough spot with 2 aboard and only 1 out. He's got to face Barry Bonds.
It's not a fun situation to be in. Anytime you're going to face a Barry Bonds with runners in scoring position. Bonds has turned in another very good year. But Munoz has had success against Bonds, and hopefully come back here again. You see the numbers. The earned run average way down from where it was. The hits per innings getting better. The walks outstanding. Just 16 and 40 innings pitched. 24 strikeouts on the year.
Well, when you consider his very first appearance of the year at Houston.
Oh, yeah.
He gave up 7 runs in like a third of an inning.
Total turnaround for Mike Munoz. You ask people within baseball, what do you think of Mike Munoz? Said you got to like the guy. Comes in, throws strikes, got a good angle as far as arm angle against left-handed hitters, and has had success against them. He'll have a, as we said earlier, he's got a tough customer now, that and Barry Bonds.
George, you wonder about Chuck McElroy and Curtis Leskanic. Both have been used often by Don Baylor, and both appear to be running on fumes at the end of the season. They're tired.
Well, they really are tired. And in 77 appearances last night, tied the record of the last ball game, tied the record as the most by a Rocky relief pitcher. Broke Leskanic's record. But when you get tired, the ball's up in the strike zone. You don't get as many outs.
Bonds with a bouncing ball that's speared by Lansing to Perez, and that's the only play they'll have. Well, what a nice play by Lansing and Perez to force Aurelia at second.
Yeah, you really don't appreciate this play as tough as it really was, because this is a very difficult play for Mike Lansing to make. All the momentum going to the first base side, and he's got a reverse off-balance throw back to second with a lot of control to Nafi Perez. And Nafi checks the runner at first. Bonds safe there. Now with a left-hander on the mound, see how big of a chance Barry Bonds may take here to try to steal second base.
He already has 1 stolen base, and Don Baylor coming back out of the dugout. Bonds, who stole his 28th earlier tonight at first base. Bernard is at third. And Don Baylor coming out to get Mike Munoz and bring in Dave Wainhouse to face Jeff Kent. So Munoz does his job. He gets the 1 man he faces. He leaves, exit stage right. In comes Wainhouse, and we'll be back again in just a moment. Top of the 6th, the Giants with 2 aboard. With 2 out, Wainhouse is going to come on to face Kent. But let's take a peek at that American League scoreboard, brought to you by British Airways. Red Sox have already wrapped up the wild card. They add a little extra and beat the Orioles. Tigers over the Blue Jays. The Yankees with their 112th win tonight. The White Sox shutting out the Royals. Soroka pitched the shutout. 3-0 for Chicago. Then the Twins beat the Indians. Right now the A's are leading the Angels 4-2 in the 5th inning. Jim Abbott pitching for Anaheim. And the Mariners are clobbering the Rangers. They're doing a little early celebrating, but they haven't wrapped it up just yet. Hey, Wayne House now coming on to face Jeff Kent.
Well, Wayne House will come on. Got his first win of the year. It's been a couple of years since Wayne House had got a major league victory, but he got it in his last appearance. This will be his 10th on the year. And he'll have to face Kent. Don Baylor thinking, I'll go to the hard sinker and try to get the ground ball out.
Bernard at third, the lead run, and Bonds at first. Manwaring makes a nice stop. 1 ball, no strikes to Jeff Kent. Kent with an RBI single and a couple of walks tonight. Looking down to see if anything is going to be happening here. It's a good count to run on. And you claim that move has worked for you.
It has. Ask Jesse Barfield the next time you see him. It's gotten him twice. Twice. Then the old turn around on the mound and runner on second. You know, you pick your leg up, just keep going back towards second. You got him once with that, too.
3-0.
Right now, Wayne House needs to throw some strikes with 2 outs.
Joe Carter, who's swinging a hot bat on the on-deck circle. Green light, Kent. You can't count against it. Carter. He has a single tonight. All 4. They're loaded now for Carter. Carter coming up with the bases loaded for the 2nd time in the ballgame. Don Baylor and Dusty Baker watching their bullpens not exactly unravel, but not perform up to their standards through the '98 season. Fastball right through there.
You know, the hard part too, it's an old cliche and it's easier said than done, but walks will kill you. The Rockies have walked 5 tonight. 2 of those have come around to score.
And the 2 walks by Estes in the 5th inning led to the big inning by the Rockies. Too low. 2-1. Nowhere to put him. Did he check? He did. 3-1 with the bases juiced. Wayne House is going to have to give in now to Joe Carter.
This is where you got to throw a strike, but just trust me, you're going to be very selective if you're Carter, Rios, Bonds, and Kent at first.
And the 3-1 pitch is ball 4. Wayne House has walked both men he's faced, and the Giants have retaken the lead. Bernard crosses the plate, and it's now 6-5 San Francisco. The Giants, after watching the Rockies score 4 in the 5th, have scored 3 themselves here in the 6th and still have them loaded for JT Snow. right now.
Well, the sinker's sinking out of the strike zone, and the hitter's not helping him at all. You know, when you're at AAA, Dave, you make that same exact pitch, guys will swing at it, you'll get ground ball outs. But in the big leagues, the hitters' eyes are so much more keen that they take that pitch.
Helton smothers it to Wainhouse. Well, the Giants leave him loaded. Wainhouse upset with himself for walking home a run, walking 2 batters. The Giants get 3 and now lead by 1. Well, they're gathering on Madeline Avenue. Boy, good crowd on hand here for this Friday night showing between the Giants and the Rockies. The Giants trying to pull even with the Cubs and the Mets in the wild card chase in the National League, right now leading by 1. San Javier has come into the ball game to play center field. Bernard goes from center over to right, replacing Joe Carter. And the Giants also have a new hurler on the hill. Johnstone taking over for Julian Tavares.
Well, look at his appearances and what he's been able to accomplish this year out of their bullpen. 68th appearance, 84 the hits, 3 innings, outstanding. The strikeouts, almost 1 per inning, and only 37 walks for Johnstone. He has played a very big part in the bullpen for the Giants and the success that they've been able to have this year.
Jason Bates is going to pinch hit for Manwaring. Wainhouse, the next scheduled batter. He'll probably be gone as well. And Reed is probably getting ready right now. Jason Bates, his career against the Giants.
Good numbers there. 283, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs.
Strike 1 to Bates. Strike 2 to Bates. Rockies with the decision to make on Jason too in the offseason. Bates never got his bat off his shoulder, looked at 3 pitches, all strikes. Johnstone makes quick work of Jason Bates. U.S. West is proud to support Children's Hospital and be a fan of your kid. If you want ideas on how to be a fan of your kid, you can visit them online or call 864-KIDS. Now Jeff Reed, as suspected, coming on to pinch hit for Wainhouse. Filling out your scorecard, making a few changes. A few scratches here and there now. You'll get more of that too when you get into September with all the September call-ups. Reed fouls it out of play, a ball and a strike. At times, scorecards can look like spring training. Jerry DiPoto is getting loose now for the Rockies in the pen. And he'll come on to face the Giants in the 7th inning. Two and 1. Oakland now in front of Anaheim 6-2 in the 6th inning. Seattle's going to beat Texas, but now the Rangers are scoreboard watching and seeing Anaheim losing. Anaheim loses, the Rangers wrap up the West. Texas wins, and they won't. They're trailing 8-0. They also can wrap it up. Texas did their job, though. You can't say they're going to back in tonight because they beat the Angels head-to-head. And they won the West by beating the Angels 5 straight times. High pop-up into foul territory. Bill Miller, he makes the grab, and there are 2 gone in the 6th.
Yeah, what a job that the Rangers did when they came into Texas for a 2-game series. Trailing by 1, they were swept there. Then the Rangers go on out to Anaheim and sweep the Angels there 3 straight. Quite an accomplishment for the ball club. Outscored, I believe, 35 or 38-7 in that series.
Now Darrell Hamilton. Hamilton 0 for 3 against his ex-mates. Well, Hamilton probably wants to knock the Giants off, and you saw a game-winning home run that Darrell hit in San Francisco earlier this year. But Hamilton also, if the Giants make the playoffs, has a chance to share in a little bit of the purse.
Yeah, it's all up to a club vote. Anytime you're traded away in midseason or gone and you vote, or acquired in midseason, same thing applies. You vote for players and give them a share or not give them a share, and it's the prerogative of the ball players and your teammates that make those decisions.
Rating with the Padres, they voted a half share for their advanced scout.
It's a pretty complimentary job, and a half a share. Just to go back a couple of years ago, the Yankees got $248,000. Not a bad day at the office. Got 124 G's.
Well, you know, advanced scouts, they're not the highest paid on the payroll in baseball, and that guy has a chance. If Padres go all the way, half share could be worth $400,000.
About 200 for a half, 400 for a full.
No, they're saying this year it's going up to as much as $700,000 to $800,000 for a full this year.
All of that's based. There's Clyde King, the guy in the white hat. I told him I'd show him tonight so Mr. Steinbrenner would know that he was working, not playing golf, because he loves to play golf.
Clyde King, a guy everybody calls Super Scout.
If you had $1 for every time those eyes looked at a baseball player, you and I wouldn't be sitting in this booth. We might own a club.
Fouled away again by Hamilton, trying to hang in there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, it's not uncommon now for all the teams that are in the playoffs to send their scouts everywhere.
Well, you see all that group of guys you're looking at there on the right-hand side that all have the earplugs and the radar guns. Those are all scouts. And they're all here watching what's going on.
3-2. Ball 4, so Hamilton works a walk. That was a good at bat. That'll bring up Nafi Perez, who started the Rockies rally in the 5th inning with an RBI single with 2 outs. And Bichette and Castilla followed suit. Rockies got their final run that inning when Kent couldn't hang on to a ground ball off the bat of Helton. Bichette scoring from second on the play.
You talked about the Rockies and their walks. They'd walk 5-2, had scored. Now the Giants on the other side have walked 5 in a ball game, and 3 of those have come back to score. So the walks have haunted both ball clubs tonight.
And you know that Frank Pulley has generally a generous strike zone, so the pitchers just must be wild. Frank Pulley, or one of those guys considered to have a pitcher's strike zone.
Been chosen to go umpire one of the playoffs. Well, he's getting ready to go back into postseason one more time. First time I ever questioned him on a ball and a strike. He said, whoa, wait a minute. It's Mr. Pulley. I started laughing. I said, son, you're in this league long enough, you'll learn I got the biggest strike zone in this league.
No wonder you've been friends for 25 years.
You always like those guys with big strike zones. Hamilton getting back in with the hand first into the bag. His tag's on the elbow, but safe.
Perez gives it a ride to center field. Javier is there to make the catch, and that'll do it. And the Rockies get a walk, but it doesn't hurt Johnstone and the Giants. 6 in the books. The Giants by 1. Rockies baseball is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Reminds you the 3 most important words are hey, beer, man. And by British Airways, the world's favorite airline. Jerry Dipoto coming out of the pen. Rockies used 3 pitchers in the 6th inning. They don't want to do that again.
Now Dipoto comes into the ball game now, and he'll try to stymie the Giants. Hold it right there at a 6-5 or 1 run and give the offense a chance to catch back up. You look at Dipoto's numbers. Very good on the year for Jerry Dipoto. Good slider, good fastball.
Reed's behind the plate, taking over for Manwaring after Mano left for a pinch hitter. Well, the '99 season, 189 days away as far as the first game at Coors Field, which will feature Boston in the exhibition games, April 2nd and 3rd. Then the regular season begins April the 5th, 191 days away at San Diego. The home opener coming up against the Padres a week after that on the 12th.
Be a good way to get off to a fast start.
This kid's excited about the '99 season. Hey, Dad, team opens against San Diego, the Western Division champs from '98. There's a guy who's a fan of his kid. Well, Bill Miller to lead off for the 2nd straight inning. He'll be followed by Johnson, and then we'll see. 6-5 Giants in the 7th inning. Ball on a strike. Miller is 1 for 3 tonight. A single back in the 2nd inning. In case you just joined us, both the Mets and the Cubs lost tonight. Well, right now the Giants a half game back in the wild card chase in the National League. Sammy Sosa hit number 66 tonight, and Mark McGwire also hit number 66, so they're tied again.
Let's do a little managing too.
All right.
You ready to manage a little bit?
Let's do it.
How patient is Dusty Baker going to be before he goes to Rob Nin down in his bullpen? I think he'll have him pitch the 8th and 9th. This is must-wins now. You can't afford it, particularly in this ballpark. Do you take that? Nin likes the ball. He could throw many days in a row. He could throw a lot of pitches. His arm rebounds in a hurry. What do you do?
Fly ball, well hit left field. Bichette backing up. He's got room in front of the track. That's 1 out in the 7th. Well, I think with 3 games at Coors Field, I'd be a little hesitant to pitch Nin 2 innings on the first night. Now, I mean, that's a decision he's going to have to make. I'm not saying he won't do it. He just very well might.
You think this way you could put a little vote of confidence into your ball club that they can win it. Now, that gives them a chance now if they win this ball game. Now you are tied and run a risk if you try to go too long. But Johnstone's pitched well. Just giving you some of the options that these guys go through down in the dugout. It's going to be unbelievably nightmarish for Frisco if you did bring him in to pitch the 8th and 9th, and he gives up 4 or 5 runs and gets hammered in the first night at Coors Field.
Javier on deck. He came in on the double switch. He bats in the number 9 spot. The pitcher's spot is now Joe Carter's position on the lineup card. Johnstone able to go a couple of innings. At least that's the game plan for Dusty Baker. You've got your middle relief guys, you got your setup guys, you got your closers, you've got your bridge guys. And bullpen's like a relay race, and you just keep handing that baton off.
Well, you'd like to define your bullpen and say you're the long guy after the 3rd or 4th inning, take a nap. You're the middle guy after the 6th, take a nap. You're the setup guy if we're winning. You're the setup guy if we're not winning. You're the setup guy if it's tied. I mean, a lot of things go into this.
Brian Johnson looks at a strike, and it's 3-1. Foul back. So DePoto's come back to run it full. The 3-2 pitch is a slider popped up into right field. Clemente is there, and that's the 2nd out. Well, he made sure of that catch. And now Stan Javier. Rockies have taken 6 of 9 from the Giants this year, including a sweep of the Giants earlier this season, a 3-game series at Coors Field. The 1998 AAU 10 and under national championship. He was a part of that team. Good slider, missed. 1 ball, 1 strike. Amazing story, though, the Giants. 5 back on the 17th of the month in the wild card race, and now just a half game behind. A little blooper. Perez won't catch up to it. It'll drop for a hit. Javier aboard with 2 out. A Texas leaguer. Now Marvin Bernard. Bernard with an RBI single in the 3-run 6th inning for the Giants. Bernard hitting .361 since Darrell Hamilton was traded to the Rockies. Bernard has started now 32 of the 39 games since that departure. Good slider from DePoto, strike 1. Javier on at first base. Good stop by Reed. Ball and a strike to Marvin Bernard. Oakland leading Anaheim 6-2 in the 7th. If the Angels lose, the Rangers wrap up the West, and it's over in the American League. Base hit, right center field. There goes Javier to third. Clemente cuts it off. A long single for Bernard, but now they're at the corners.
Dipoto trying to go ahead and get the final out and run the sinker down and away, but Bernard does a nice job driving the ball right back up the middle. Chokes up about 2 inches from the left side to try to drive the ball, have better back control. 2-out base hit. You just got to get after it now, Dave. You ended up with Aurelia up right now. Aurelia's had a pretty good night so far. 3 base hits and a sacrifice.
That's pretty good.
Ain't a bad night at all, is it?
For a guy hitting 265. Average up 6 points just tonight. Javier at third. And Marvin Bernard at first base with 2 out. This game almost 3 hours old. We're in the 7th. Just missed. 2-0 to Aurelia. On deck, the ever dangerous Barry Bonds. Bouncing ball, base hit. Giants now lead by 2, 7-5. All this coming with 2 out, nobody on. Hits by Javier Bernard and now Aurelia. 7-5 San Francisco.
The ball hasn't been hit that hard yet at all. Just put singles together with 2 outs. That's what makes you a good ball club. Because you have 2 outs, you don't give it up. Good job by Dipoto. Aurelia, his 4th hit on the night. Pretty excited about his outing so far.
What a night for Aurelia. And now Bonds. Bonds with a single back in the 1st inning. He's 0 for 3 since. Rockies led this one 5-3, but now 4 unanswered runs by the Giants. 3 of them charged to Leskanic, 1 to Dipoto. Another good stop by Reed, and it's 2-0 to Bonds. Well, you look at Bonds and what he put together. March, we count that because the season actually started in March. He had 308. They went on a tear, 33-24. Then hitting just 228 in June and July, the Giants struggled. Now hitting 370 the last couple of months, and the Giants resurging once again. That's how much he means to this ball club.
Well, if you're Dipoto now, you want to try to throw something that you're not thinking he's thinking. Does that make any sense to you?
Yes.
Or are you confused yet?
No.
Throw the slider down and in, or a good hard sinker down and away. Just don't get it up in the strike zone. Bonds likes the ball up in the strike zone. He likes it middle where he can open up and turn on the ball. In this situation right now, that's exactly what he's trying to do. Remember, you talked about it earlier, Chuck McElroy's with all of the outings that he's had, 77, and then they used Munoz earlier. Yeah, it looks like Jerry Dipoto suffering from a little bloody nose on the mound. We're going to try to put a stop to this. Man, pretty tough guy right now, folks.
Yep. And a dry air, I think. Bloody nose for Dipoto, and the Giants bloodied the scoreboard with 7 runs and 13 hits. Aurelia with 4 of those hits. It's the 3rd time in his career he's had a 4-hit night. second time this season. Aurelia, a real coming out party for him tonight. Too low, 3-1. Seattle beating Texas 13-0 in the 6th inning. Seahawks are going for the extra point as we speak. High pop-up. Helton going over. That one drifting all the way back into the stands and way out of play. So it's 3-2 to Bonds with 2 out.
Bonds, he hits this. Gives it a look, begging, trying to get it out. Leaning, tilting. Got it.
At the stick, that's probably an out.
Oh, absolutely.
Or a 3-count, excuse me.
No, it's candlestick. For old guys.
Getting older by the second. Swing and a miss, and down goes Bonds. Otapoto strikes out Barry Bonds, but the Giants get another run. Stretch time at Coors Field. The Giants by 2. Man of the hour for the Giants with 4 hits tonight. Our Bank One game summary. And the Giants with a 3-run 6th. Aurelia has had a big night for the Giants, who lead by 2 now after the Rockies had a 5-3 lead once upon a time. Now Dante Bichette to lead off the 7th for the Rockies. He'll be followed by Castilla and Helton. Dante with an RBI single his last time up. That's when the Rockies got 4 in the 5th. But since then it's been all Giants with 3 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th off the Rocky bullpen. It has been rocky tonight. High pop up. Cat almost threw a goatee to go along with that mustache by the time that one came down.
I was just thinking about the uh-oh. That ball was hit kind of high in the air. Almost got it again. Yeah. Kent's smiling too. How'd that ball find me? Why didn't it go to right or to first?
Now Benny Castilla. The score holds up. We'll look at the paper tomorrow and see a 3-way tie for the wild card lead. Bouncing ball, Miller. 2 out in the 7th. Rockies baseball is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. It reminds you the 3 most important words are, hey, beer, man.
First baseman, number 17,
Hey, Woodman.
What's up, Woody? Oh, you got to wave, Woody. Wave, Woody. Never wave when we say that, Woody. Come on, Woody. Wave one more time, Woody. You can do it.
Woody is literally out in left field.
Yes, he is. How many ice cream cones have you had, Woody? Tell the truth. That's right. Sit right in front of Madeline's. He's able to go out and get a lot of it.
Well, there's Woody just licking his chops.
Brian Peters, turn that knob a little bit more to the right there, buddy. Atta boy.
That's what you call a rack focus.
Is that a shoot off? What he's shooting here?
Isn't that a rack focus? Yeah. It's the only thing I know. I used to run camera a little bit.
Where?
Hays, Kansas.
Doing what?
And a little bit in Wichita.
Oh, when you'd run out in the car by yourself and he'd make you take it?
Bouncing ball to Aurelia. Well, get a lot of that. Well, just 6 innings for Johnstone. Rockies go in order in the 7th. Still 7-5 Giants. Giants Giants have out-hit the Rockies 13-5 and lead by 2. Rockies baseball brought to you by that building way out there, US West. Life's better here, the official telecommunications provider for the Rockies. Now Jerry Dipoto gave up a run in the 7th inning. Will face Jeff Kent and then a pinch hitter and JT Snow here in the 8th. Kent has walked 3 times tonight. He has also singled home a run. One ball, 2 strikes. Jerry getting it up there at 93 that time. Martinez making a comeback with the Giants off the Dodger DL in the on deck circle. Just kidding. Ramon, an infielder for the Giants. This guy's still happy.
Yeah. What time is it?
Hey, Mom. When Vinny hits it, it goes way up. Broken bat. Base hit.
Yeah, Kent's had himself a pretty good night tonight also to go along with Aurelia, he mentioned earlier in the game summary. Kent's walked 3 times. Gotten a couple of base hits. He's been on base every time, 5 straight. You look at what happened in the ball game so far. The Rockies came back and scored 4 in the bottom of the 5th. Take a 5-3 lead. The Giants countered with 3, and then in the 7th got another, and it's 7-5 right now. San Francisco, and Dave talked about it earlier. If they can win tonight, with the Cubs losing and the Mets losing in Atlanta, a 3-way tie in the National League for the wild card. And there's a look at the standings. Lost column all squared up.
A bunt. Helton looks at second, tosses to first. Martinez out. Kent to second on a sacrifice. You come on out Sunday, final game of the season for the Rockies. Enjoy Fan Appreciation Day. Every inning, lucky fans are going to be selected from the stands to win valuable prizes. They're going to give away a car as the grand prize. The Rockies and the Giants at 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon. JT Snow, the batter, with a runner at second and 1 out. Out to Perez. Quick throw. Got him. Snow out by an eyelash at first base.
We've seen a lot of Napi Perez tonight, and the athleticism that he shows in this play as he has to come in and charge the ball, then have a quick flip over, and just, you are right, by an eyelash, he's out at first base. Napi circles the ball, gets himself in a throwing position, and then fires to first base.
Nice stretch by Helton at the other end, but Perez with another nice defensive play. And Kent moving to third. He's there with 2 out. Bill Miller, the batter. Little to right. That's going to score Kemp. And the Giants lead by 3, 8-5. Again, DePoto not being hit all that hard, but boy, they're dropping in for the Giants.
Well, 3 singles back in the 7th inning allowed to run, and here he gives up the single, the sacrifice. A ground ball to shortstop moved Kent over to third, and then the base hit, broken bat base hit by Miller, scores a run.
Brian Johnson 1 for 4, a single and a run scored. Saying that the Giants have really come together as a team, especially in the last 3 weeks. Guys arriving at the ballpark earlier, staying after the game for a long time, talking about the contest that they just played.
A lot of veteran players, and Dave, to be honest with you, in the old days you would not see many of your ball players come out of the locker room for an hour to an hour and a half after a ball game, because they would sit around and eat and discuss what went on in the ball game, what it would take to have won the ball game, or what they did to win the game. So a veteran ball club that stays together wins together. I know that's kind of an old cliche, but that's what it is. Baseball and sports work in general.
Darryl Kyle tomorrow for the Rockies. Jamie Wright on Sunday. Oral Hershiser goes for the Giants tomorrow, and Kirk Reeder on Sunday. That one gets away from Reed, and advancing to second, Bill Miller. Two and two to Johnson. Broken bat out to Perez. That'll do it for the Giants, but they get another in the 8th inning. Well, the Rockies climb, got a little more uphill. 8-5 Giants. The Rockies come to bat in the bottom of the 8th. Giants have added single runs in both the 7th and the 8th innings after scoring 3 in the 6th, and now lead 8-5. Rockies baseball is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. To remind you, the 3 most important words are Hey Beer Man. And now pitching for the Giants, the flamethrower Jose Mesa.
Yeah, Mesa acquired in a trade for Steve Reed, who went on to the Cleveland Indians. They thought Mesa, with a change of scenery, would be able to come and maybe help this ball club. He's 8-7 on the year with a 1 save. Remember back to the fall of 1997 in the World Series Game 7. He blew that ball game. Has never recovered from that. His off-the-field activities obviously weighed heavily on his mind, but all that behind him now, trying to help the San Francisco Giants get there. And the Giants should feel somewhat fortunate, because you have 2 closers. Mesa used to be one of the best closers in all the game of baseball when he was with the Cleveland Indians, and you put him with Rod Nen, and that just increases your chances of how good your bullpen can actually be. Just think, 1995, Jose Mesa had 46 saves in the big leagues. 1996, 39 saves. And then in 1997, just 16 saves. And he has pitched well in the division series. He saved a ball game in 97. Championship series, he had a couple of saves. And in the World Series, both in 95 and 97, he had saves. So Mesa very familiar with the pressure.
Fastball right through there. That one at 95. Mike Lansing, the lead batter for the Rockies. And be followed by Edgar Clemente, and then a pinch hitter. Lansing gives it a ride. Deep left center field. And that's off the wall. Lansing will have a double to lead things off in the 8th inning.
We talked about it. Will Dusty Baker go to Rob Nin early? He may have to if Mesa's not able to get through this inning. Laser with full extension. Remember, it wasn't long ago, 2 nights ago, Laser hits 3 home runs in a ball game. This ball looks like it's gone into the deepest part of the ballpark, and it hits right on top of the padding. Comes back in. Bonds with the reception of the ball, gets it back in. Laser at second base.
The batter, Clemente. Clemente with a couple of strikeouts in the game, but also an RBI triple. Ball 1 from Mesa to Clemente. On deck circle. Guy by the name of Walker, Larry Walker. And warming up for the Giants in the pen, probably for Walker, is Rich Rodriguez. And the reason for that is not only Walker, but also after Walker would be Reed and Hamilton. So Rodriguez is getting loose for a trio of left-handers. And Baker wants to talk with Mr. Mesa.
Pretty simple conversation. You're falling behind the hitters, get ahead. You got a 3-run lead. Don't beat yourself. Throw strikes.
Oh, and the Rockies had their big inning, the 4-run 5th. They were helped out by 3 walks in the inning. And 2 of them came around to score, Manwaring and Abbott. Strike. The visit helped. It's 2-1. It looks like Texas is going to wrap up the West tonight by their own doing, but Oakland leading Anaheim 7-2. Seattle leading Texas 13-2. But if Oakland beats the Angels, then it's over, and the Rangers are your Western Division champs. Fastball, he blew that one by him.
Well, congratulations to Johnny Oates, coaching staff, Doug Melvin, the general manager. Glad to see they're able to accomplish it. What's ahead for them, the New York Yankees? That's the way that's set up. It gets very confusing with all the wild cards and records and things that happen. The seedings on how it goes. And who plays who. The Red Sox will not play within their division, so they will.
Clemente caught looking. That's his 3rd strikeout in the game. Mesa comes back to get him. Well, right now, I think that's the way it is set up, because Cleveland was 2 games ahead of Texas in the win column going into play tonight. And Texas is losing again, even though Cleveland already lost. To be honest with you, I'm not sure about head-to-head Cleveland and Texas. If they tie, it'll come down to that. Well, here's Larry Walker, and here comes Dusty Baker. Baker's going to make a double switch here as he comes out to talk to Frank Pulley first. Well, the wheels are turning once again. Again, no room for error for Dusty Baker and the Giants. They probably feel like they need to sweep the Rockies here at Coors Field this weekend. Rodriguez will be coming in to face Larry Walker, and Brent Maine will take over for Brian Johnson behind the plate on the double switch. We'll be back in a moment. Well, the Giants lead at 8-5. The Rockies have a runner aboard, but with 1 out. Maine comes in on the double switch behind the plate to take over for Johnson, and on the hill, Rich Rodriguez. A Hoover pickup of the game, a beauty by Perez.
Well, it really is a hard line drive, 1 hop into the hole. Perez dive, gets to his knees, quick throw to Lansing. The double play completed with the stretch of help, and that's your Hoover pickup of the game.
Mayfield's played a very solid short tonight, well, all year long. What a good year he has had, along with Helton. And there have been some individual stories for the Rockies this year. Here's Rodriguez to face Larry Walker. Well, if you want to update the batting race, Larry Walker leading the National League with his .360 average. Oliver got a hit tonight. And he's up to .351. Ball one from Rodriguez to Walker. Rockies still need another base runner to get aboard before they can bring the tying run to the plate. Done real well against Rich, but ahead here 2-0.
I would think, Dave, and maybe I'm wrong, that if Walker gets on base, you'll let him face Reed. But if it's one run gets across, I think you're going to see him go to the bullpen and get Rob Nen. He's been throwing down in the bullpen a little bit, able to get his club into a tie. He can't run that risk this late in the ball game.
Yeah, at this point, I would agree with you. I mean, now it's time to slam the door if you're Dusty Baker. No room for error. They want to win this one and catch the Cubs and the Mets in the dirt. 3-1.
I've always thought it's difficult in the National League for a manager when he makes his double switch to make it with your catcher. I always just felt like I'd like to leave the guy in there or see him stay in, because he's caught the whole ball game. He's worked hitters for the whole game. He realizes what their weaknesses are a little bit more than what the guy that's coming into it. Plus, you get a situation now where the ball gets by guys. They're not loose. Catchers have to be very flexible. He's been sitting for 5 or 6 innings to come into the game, although I think Maine's probably not having a tough time finding adrenaline.
I don't think that's a tough assignment for any of the Giants. They got that little extra boost of energy, don't they, being in contention. 3-2 to Walker.
The eyes are a little dilated. The blood's flowing a little quicker.
Lansing, who led off with a double, still at second with 1 out. The payoff pitch to Walker. Check swing, foul. Tracy Ringlesby sitting down there.
Cowboy went out and dove and got him one.
Again, the 3-2 pitch. Got him looking. Good pitch from Rodriguez. He throws Larry Walker. That's the second out here in the 8th.
Well, they knew it. You take the look at the pitch and then you watch Walker's reaction. It's fastball right on the outside corner. The ring up by Pulley. Walker just gives up on it, looks back, makes the turn, heads to the dugout. No complaints out of Larry Walker. May have been looking for another pitch in another location. This time it tipped your hat to Rodriguez.
Well, Angel Echeverria is going to bat for Reed. That means Stripmatter is going to come in to catch. Echeverria coming on to pinch hit for Reed.
Well, Echeverria has been a very good pinch hitter on the year so far for the Rockies. Hitting well over 500 in the case. And exactly what Ron Peranowski's out to the mound now to visit with Rodriguez on how to possibly pitch Echeverria or ask Maine. Here's what it says in the reports. Here's what our scouts say. Likes to extend his arm, wants the ball out over the plate. So you try to work your slider in or the fastball in, but don't leave it up out over the plate. This kid can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Walker, by striking out, his average drops a point to .359. Peranowski's confab is over. Well, it's a final in Oakland. The A's beat the Angels 7-2. They're celebrating now in the state of Texas. The eyes of Texas are upon the playoffs. Ball one to Echeverria. Hitting .370. Good pinch hitting numbers for Angel. Ball one, strike. Sosa with number 66 tonight. He was the first to do it, and then McGuire followed suit about 40 minutes later. McGuire and Sosa tied again at 66. They moved that bar just one higher. Strike two. Sosa has hit 3 home runs in the Cubs' last 2 games, but both losses by Chicago. I'm sure Sammy'd give all 3 homers back to get a couple of wins. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Echeverria with 2 out and Lansing on at second.
Outside count at 2-2 with 2 outs. Trip 2's on the board. That's a good sign, Dave.
It is?
Yep, base hit. Okay. Trip 2's on the board. All those little things you look at in the pen and things you come up with to look for reasons somebody will get a base hit. Trip 2's is one of those.
Bouncing ball. What do you know? It comes through. A base hit for Echeverria. Now over 500 as a pinch hitter. Lansing scores. The Rockies 1 closer.
Go ahead.
Good
Trip
job.
2's. It's weird how many times you see things on a board and then you make a comment and bam, it happens. In the bullpen or anywhere else. Fastball away from Rodriguez. The ball hit right back up the middle. Laser on second base. He'll come around to score on impact. It's just a jog in the park for Laser to come on in and score the 6th run of the ball game. Darrell Hamilton and Rich Rodriguez will hook up. Hambone gets on, trust me, he'll take the guesswork out, and Rob Nen will be in the ball game.
Oh yeah. Well, Hamilton beat the Giants in San Francisco with a home run. He hits another one here, it would tie the game. Check swing, pop up into right. Marvin Bernard squeezes that one, and that'll do it for the Rockies. But they cash in the lead double by Lansing. Angel Echeverria singles them home. The Giants by 2 as we go to the 9th. Rockies baseball is brought to you by Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep Eagle, the official vehicles of the Rockies. By Coca-Cola Classic, always a hit, always Coca-Cola. And by the Rocky Mountain News, if you live here, you get it. A couple of changes for the Rockies as they're strolling along Madeline Avenue here at Coors Field. Dave Veers coming out of the bullpen to pitch in the 9th, and he'll be throwing to Mr. Strickmatter.
The Rockies will be down by 2, and they come in here to pitch the top half of the 8th. Strickmatter will head to the mound now to talk to Dave Veers to make sure they've got all the signals where they want them. Anybody happens to get on base, especially with runner at second base, to know what signals or source of signals they would use at that span. As a young catcher, you're catching a veteran player. Just sit back and relax and call, and if he shakes, go with the pitch he wants to do it. Dave Veers, you got 3 to pick from: the fastball, the slider, and the split. See if he can get through the inning without giving up any runs.
Giants by 2. Javier, Bernard, and Aurelia, the batters for the Giants in the 9th.
You know who's coming in to pitch the 9th for the Giants. Rob Nen will take that duty. 39 saves on the year, 7-6 record. What has he done against the Rockies, you asked, Dave? He's 0-1 with 3 saves. 5 games, 6 innings.
You
year
read my
98.
mind.
You wanted to know, didn't you?
Yeah, you read my mind.
How about lifetime? You want to know that, Ted?
Sure.
3-3 with 11 saves. 27 games, 29 innings. 24 hits, 13 earned runs.
Wait, not so fast. I'm writing all this down.
All right, hold on. Where do you want me to go back to? The 3-3 part?
I think I got it. Too high, 2-1 to Javier. So the Mets and the Cubs lose. The Giants winning by 2. Could be a 3-way tie for the wild card in the National League after tonight. Texas has wrapped up the American League West, so they're done in the junior circuit as far as the playoff picture is concerned. New York, I think you're right about New York taking on Texas, although Texas and Cleveland just 2 games apart as far as their win total is concerned, but I think that's the way it's going to go, and then Cleveland and Boston in the first round. Texas losing big tonight, 15-4 in the 9th. They just want to get it over with and get in the clubhouse and celebrate. These guys, you know, they still have a lot of work to do. 2 more here in Colorado, and then who knows, maybe a trip to Shea. Still 3-2 to Javier. Javier with a single in the 7th inning that ignited a 2-out rally. Javier scoring a run, and the Giants got another in the 8th inning. And they lead by those 2 runs. Ball 4.
You'd have to admit, I think Javier would like to repeat what his father did, and that was playing the 64 and the 67 World Series with the St. Louis Cardinals. Javier would like to get there with the Giants.
Well, the wild card won the World Series last year. And look what they've done this year. Florida just sold the farm this year. Florida's game tonight postponed by rain, and with Philadelphia it won't be made up. Hurricane George going through Florida right now. Certainly hope for everyone's safety. Strip matter can't handle that one. And going to second, Javier, as the Giants look for some insurance. Javier was off with the pitch, and now he jammed his foot into second base. Bernard, the batter, strike 1 on Marvin. The Marlins, with their record of 51-107, the Marlins, the only World Series champion one year that lost more than 100 the following season. Rockies expecting a bunt now from Bernard.
Try to add to the run total any time that you can with nobody out. Try to advance Javier. Really, who swung the hot bat. 4 base hits and a sacrifice on the night. He stands in the on-deck circle. It'll be up to Bernard to advance him over. Nobody out, 8-6. Giants on top of the Rockies. Oh, another timeout. All right, well, if you guys are going to talk, then I'm going to go talk. So that's the way it's going to be.
Wait a minute. Let somebody throw the flag for delay of game, all right?
Flagrant delay of game. That's a 10-yard penalty.
At least. Send him back to first. Ought to be a rule. If you delay the game too long, you got to send the guy back to the
That ain't going to happen. Ought to be, would it be, could be. Ain't going to happen.
Ball and a strike to Bernard. Davis, the third base coach. Two and one.
Oh, wait a second. Have you not got it figured out yet? How long has he been here?
Well, I know these guys have a lot to play for, but this is like watching paint dry right now. This is ridiculous.
It's been a pretty long ball game. A lot of changes, a lot of walks in the ball game, and that's one thing that drags out a ball game.
Three and one. Well, they walked Javier to lead off the frame, and now threatening to walk Marvin Bernard. And then you'll probably see a bunt by Aurelia to bunt him over to second and third, and then Bonds comes up. And that's a walk. A lot of walks in the game, especially with Frank Pulley behind the plate.
Well, at one point there had been 10 total walks. Frank Funk, the pitching coach for the Rockies. It bothers him as much as anybody when you guys start walking people.
Well, it's a final in Seattle, so this now is the last game being played in baseball. Seattle 15-4 over Texas. Junior hit his 56th in that game. But Texas doesn't really care because Anaheim lost tonight, and the Rangers have wrapped up the West. Aurelia, that's a foul ball. Almost got his finger. On Aurelia. Looking ahead to the Rockies, ninth, Perez, Bichette, and Castillo. Here comes the two-strike pitch. He waves at it. Oh, a strikeout for Beers.
Well, he just reared back and let her go. Good old country fastball. Flew right by Rich Aurelia. And then you look at it again from the U.S. West on the outside half. And he swings at it anyway, upset with himself. Now Barry Bonds with runners first and second and one out. His club up by 2. Dave Beers on the mound. One out. Ground ball second. To short to first. The inning over.
Okay. You called
If he swings at it.
Two.
Huh?
You called the trips 2 single. Let's see how good you are.
All right. All right. If he doesn't hit into a double play, I'm leaving. That's it.
Thanks.
Oh, wait a second. That guy. Go put the camera up.
Beers with his split finger. Bonds waving over the top, and it's 2-1.
Oh, take a look at that good split you just looked at. Right there looks like a fastball about halfway to home plate, and then it just dives out of the strike zone.
Another one.
Got another look at it. Well, the Rockies have walked 7 on the night. 2 of those have come around to score in the ball game. The walks haven't hurt them as bad as they did the Giants. The Giants had walked 5 and 3 had scored. That's, Dave, why the length of the ball game, a lot of 3-1, 3-2 counts and a lot of walks.
Yeah. Pop up. In comes Clemente. Out goes Lansing. They're going to call the infield fly rule. Bonds is out. Runners stuck at first and second. Bonds not happy. He was trying to punch a big hole in this game, but Beers trying to wiggle off the hook.
2 splits in a row out of the strike zone. There's strike 1. Come back with another split. Same spot, same song. Strike 2. And a good heater inside. Barry can't turn on it. Pops it up to Laser for the second out of the inning.
Barry probably thinking, man, I had my pitch, a high fastball on the inside edge, but he popped it up. So Javier stuck at second, Bernard at first, and Jeff Kent the batter. Kent with 2 singles and 3 walks. Strike 1 to Jeff Kent. Split finger, 2 strikes. I like when Pulley does that little punch.
You like that punch out right upside your head? Yeah. Boom, gotcha. When he calls strike 2, that's the best because he kind of jumps and punches with both and does the splits, and he gets all excited when he rings you up. You got to look at it now.
A little uppercut, huh?
A little nice little spot to your jaw.
2 strikes on Kent.
Think he's throwing a split or a slider? You make the call.
It's out of the strike zone.
Peter.
Now he's got him set up for another split.
Think it's a split or a slider?
Split.
Split?
Mm-hmm.
Is in banana split or is in split finger?
Split finger.
Oh, okay.
Fastball.
Pretty good one on the night. 94 miles an hour on that fastball. The one previous 94 too. And remember, he threw the ball right by Aurelia to strike him out. That was the first out of the inning. I think he's coming with the slitter.
Outside. That was the slider. Now 2-2. Trips 2, George.
Wrong team. All right, make it out. Swing at it right here. Let's go. What are you going to throw, Dave?
Split.
You don't want to go to 3 and 2. Heater.
I don't think he can hit a split.
Well, he hadn't had an opportunity after he got the one by for a strike called on a check. He hadn't gone back to it again.
Well. Strip matter out to say, hey Dave, let's throw that nice split right here. Strikes out. So the 2 walks to lead off the ninth don't hurt Dave Beers. The Rockies hang in there. Perez will be leading off, followed by Bichette and Castilla. The Rockies need 2 to tie it and 3 to win. Giants leading the Rockies 8-6. Rob Nen coming in to try to close the deal. If the Giants win, they'll be in a tie for the wild card with the Mets and the Cubs.
Oh, you talk about Mr. Dependability. This is it. Rob Nen, the closer last year for the Florida Marlins, acquired by San Francisco. There's no guesswork here. It's fastball, split finger, and occasional slider, but a very deceptive delivery on the mound. He'll drag that left foot or the lead foot. And look at this. Entering the 9th, 39 saves, 76 appearances, 110 strikeouts. Right-handers $127, left-handers $230 off of Nen.
Well, the Giants 71-3 this year when they have the lead after 8 innings. Now, Rob Nen to face Nafi Perez, who has 2 hits and 4 at-bats tonight. One guy gets aboard, one swing of the bat by the next man up. We'll tie it up. Well, Perez trying to get aboard any way he can. And starts him with a strike. Well, that fastball in there at 97. Missed outside. Atlanta beat the Mets 6-5. Houston over the Cubs 6-2. Ground ball. Kent's got this one. 1 out. Perez hit it hard, but Kent over to make the play.
Well, it's up to Nafi Perez to try to get on base and get the tying run to the plate, but now Dante Bichette will change his frame of mind, and then as he approaches this at bat against Rob Nen, now you start to think, I'm going to hit the ball out of the ballpark versus just trying to get on base. You got Castilla on deck, and then help.
Bichette an RBI single in the 5th inning. That's when the Rockies did most of their damage. A hot shot. Aurelia in self-defense makes the play. That ball was scorched, but right at Aurelia.
Yeah, how do you hit a ball any harder? Man, that ball's a one-hop line drive right at Aurelia. They able to get it back together and get the chance to get Bichette at first base. You see JT Snow look back. He can't believe he even caught it. Yeah, right on the palm of the hand at about 130 miles an hour.
Well, the Rockies down to their final swing, 2 out in the 9th, and Vinny Castilla the batter. And you knew he wasn't going to see a first pitch fastball.
No, not from this guy.
He's had a good time against Nen. Pokes it into center field. Javier is there. The Giants have tied for the lead in the wild card. So the Giants, with their 5th straight win, have caught both the Cubs and the Mets.
Yeah, now it's all tied up, and now we'll find out who can play a little bit with a lot of pressure upon you. The Giants with a lot of veteran players, the Cubs with veteran players. It'll be interesting to see what happens down the rest of the way.
Well, they're happy in San Francisco. Joe Carter, a part of the win. Nen makes quick work of the Rockies in the 9th inning as he gets them in order. We'll be back and tell you who our Coors Light player of the game is and wrap it up from Coors Field in just a moment. Well, Well, the Giants win this one despite the Rockies taking a 5-3 lead in the 5th. The Giants got 3 in the 6th, single runs in the 7th and 8th, and they win it 8-6. The Coors Light player of the game is
Rich Aurelia, 4 for 5 on the night. 4 singles, 2 runs scored, and made some nice plays in the field to help the Giants close out the Rockies tonight as they win at 8-6. And again, Dave, it'll be great to see how much pressure is abounding tomorrow as they come to the ballpark and they have to play here. Kyle on a roll has pitched very well. The Cubs are in in Houston playing the Astros, and now all of a sudden now you've got the Mets playing in Atlanta. It's gonna be fun the next 2 days.
No question about it. And maybe a 1 or perhaps 2-game playoff looming large. Maybe all 3 teams will tie by the end of the regular season. Well, they were dancing for a while, but then it became a giant slugfest, and they win it 8-6. Be sure to join us Sunday for the final game of the year right here on Denver's WB2. Barry Bonds and the Giants against the Rockies in the season finale. Until then, for George Frazier, Dave Armstrong saying so long from Coors Field. You've been watching Rockies baseball on Denver's WB2. Coming up next, it's the news.